What's up? What's up? Welcome to the first episode of Todo Chido. As you guys might see, we have a new set. It'll probably evolve. Get closer and closer. There's an idea of what we kind of want to do, and it'll slowly become that. But anyways, as always, it's so weird that we're not live anymore. But I'm here joined by Jules and Brandon.
Hello.
It's Julie.
She's going by her birth name.
It's not Jimmy McGill. It's Saul Goodman.
Oh, my bad. My bad. Yeah. How does it feel,
This
guys?
is the prequel.
This is like a soft reboot. Yeah.
Soft reboot.
Yeah. How does it feel, you guys, to not go live anymore?
Honestly, so much better.
So much more relaxed.
Well, because we can cut this. We can cut this out. I could say the most racist thing ever.
I could be on my Kanye shit right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And say-
and nobody would know. You know.
Go ahead,
Wow.
Julie. Say something controversial. Oh, come on.
I mean, you know how I feel about that.
Oh,
Bro,
so
no, I've been thinking about smoking cigarettes for like a minute now.
I've
And it's cause you know how I work at my job? I work with cars. I work with a
Yeah.
bunch of older guys. Older guys are always pulling up with a cigarette in their mouth, and they look pretty fucking cool, man. And they're all like in their 70s, and I'm like, shit, dude. And they can live this long, like I'll be fine. But not only that, but when they're smoking, bro, they look so at peace. Like sometimes I literally tell them that their car is like a piece of shit, and like it's probably like it's better to turn into the city and get money for it. And they're like, what are you gonna do? And they just light up another
What?
cigarette.
Isn't that kind of why people are smokers? Because like it helps with like stress because of the nicotine or whatever.
It's like weirdly enough, not that I'm advocating. Like, first of all, I'm fucking around. Like, I'm not actually saying go like smoke cigarettes, but I've heard that nicotine helps you become more productive. That it like makes something in your brain function better.
Mhm.
To where, yeah, bro. Okay, we're pro smoking here. We're pro smoking here. But that apparently it helps you with like reading, writing notes, like memorization.
Sure
All right, this is
Whatever
the
you-
tobacco
you-
companies in my
you
back
have-
pocket.
Whatever you have to do to justify your addiction, bro.
I have
Yeah.
never smoked a cigarette. I'll say that right now. I never smoked a cigarette. I've
have.
smoked
I have.
much worse, but I haven't smoked a cigarette.
Much worse.
Much worse.
What's much worse?
What's much worse?
I can't say it on the pod. Come on, now.
Oh my
Trying to give me
God.
rap snitches. Come on, I can't
Oh
say
my
that shit on here.
Interesting.
Right.
No, yeah, but one time me and Brandon were faded, and I remember we were talking about how it's so weird how because we live in LA, we're living a very unique like experience because the THC levels here in LA are like unseen anywhere else in the United States, except maybe San Francisco. But in general, like from San Francisco to LA, the weed culture is so significant and so like special. In San Francisco they have like THC levels that are 54%. Like I remember one of my buddies, like he got me a joint that was fucking 54%. And that shit will have you knocked out, man. It's almost like at this point, like bro, like give me like LSD or some shit, cause that shit is strong.
I think the government's gonna step in and do something about it.
Like what?
It's probably like alcohol. Like you know how you can't have like a certain amount
Mhm.
of alcohol percentage. I think it's gonna be like that eventually, where you can't have a certain amount of THC percentage.
Do you guys know
Okay.
we're actually like the most sober generation?
That's good.
Did you know
We
that?
are.
Yeah,
know
because
that.
in the past, like most people were on like on something. Like most people were either drinking fucking alcohol and drunk. Prohibition came about because people were just consistently fucked up every single day, every single fucking second of the day.
I mean, life probably sucked back then, so
You had to drink.
you kind of had to.
If I lived when they lived, I'd probably drink all the fucking time.
Because I mean, I guess do you consider us sober? Because now we're on phones.
Oh, he wants to get deep.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
think he's got it like that. All right. That's a good point. We talked about it. You weren't there on the radio show, but when we were on,
Sorry.
how do you say shout out to them?
Contragolpe.
Yeah, when we were with them, I told them about how when you get likes like on your phone, it's like a source of endorphins that you'd usually get from finishing a task, like finishing your homework, cleaning your room, like going for a jog. But now you get it from when people like your shit, right?
Yeah, it's much less work.
Yeah, and you get addicted to it, man. You get addicted to your phone.
So
but
then are we really the most?
No,
sober
but I okay, maybe this will blow your mind. But I was saying that like, well, maybe that's just like some people who can adapt to that is just human evolution, man. Like the people who can actually like handle and stomach the likes and be like, man, I feel good. Like, let me go like get a job, right? And the people who are like, man, I feel depressed, like seeing all these people on my phone all the time being happier than me. Like maybe those are the people who are gonna get left behind. You know what I mean? Like a sense of like natural selection in modern day. Do you get what I'm saying?
Could be, but it's like I feel like you can find everybody on the internet. Like
What do you mean?
there's a community for everybody on the internet. So if you're like a sad like weirdo, you can find other sad weirdos on the internet.
But
So like if natural selection is like a thing, then like it doesn't really work because they're finding each other still. You know what I mean?
yeah, but maybe they'll be left behind. You know? Because
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
also I don't know. The internet's a fucking weird place. Because sad weirdos finding, and this is like no disrespect to if you are a sad weirdo in the world, but a lot of the times people who come up in those groups like end up actually doing like dangerous shit.
I saw there's this one joke, I forget by who. I wish I could credit them. This comedian was like, he doesn't like the internet because it's like back in the day, there's a guy who was like, I like to fuck pigs, and he's like, well, he just has to be alone by himself. But now you can say that on the internet, and some other guy can be like, oh, me too. And now there's a community.
That's
of
true.
them, you know.
That's
So,
true. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's the good and the bad of the digital age. And do you feel like you're adapting to it well?
In what way do you mean adapting? Like I'm getting along with it? Because I mean, I don't want to be on it forever. I feel like I'm only on it because I kind of have to be. Because this is kind of our job to be on social media.
Yeah.
I feel like if I had money to like hire an assistant to like do it for me, that's probably what I do, and I wouldn't be on social media. So I don't know if that counts as adapting.
What about the memes, man?
They're good, but
they're not worth your mental health.
I don't know. I have an account where all I follow is just memes. I don't follow anybody. I don't like or save anything other than just memes, so I can just trick the algorithm. That's fun because it's like nothing serious is on there.
You're just feeding the algorithm memes, basically.
Yeah, so that's fun. But it's kind of like I wish it could always be like this, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like so maybe that's an adaptation if people did more of that.
That's true. Yeah, because a lot of people do. We talked about this before, but they put themselves in a trap of where they comment on shit they hate. So the algorithm's like, oh, they engage with the post. They must love it. Yeah. This is like a shout out to anybody who's like who actually hates seeing like stupid shit on their page.
Just don't engage with it.
Yeah, the best thing you could do, let's say you see a podcast, right? Like us, and you don't fuck with us.
No, you love it.
Yeah, no. If you fucking hate us, if you really don't like something, don't comment and immediately scroll. The longer you look at it, the more you hate comment, the more you just like spend time on it, the more the algorithm's gonna think you fucking like it, and it's gonna feed you more negative shit until you become basically this like angry person on the internet because you're just being fed shit you don't like.
This is a real thing too. They brought it up in court with Zuckerberg, right?
That's why I encourage everybody, if you want to prey on somebody's downfall on the internet, just don't give them attention. It's weirdly enough one thing me and Brian went to film school. Well, one of the things we said that it doesn't matter if it's a bad reaction or a good reaction as long as you get a reaction. The worst thing you can do is get no reaction. Yeah. Because that means you're fucking boring, bro. Or it just means whatever you were doing.
People are being smart about their hate for you.
Yeah. Or it just means you're mid.
Or you can block
it's like
them, right?
What they say, good publicity or bad publicity.
Yeah.
That's how that one guy
bad
got
publicity is good publicity.
into office.
Who?
That one guy.
What's who?
Are we gonna
one guy?
Do we get in trouble for saying his name?
Oh, are you saying yellow hair guy?
Yeah.
No, we won't get in trouble. He's our president. As far America.
Oh, he's still your president.
Oh my God! I bet he was our president.
As far as you're concerned.
Well, we still call past presidents presidents.
Oh, pelos de elote.
Nah, Donald Trump.
Bro, but yeah, you can.
I wasn't censoring myself.
Well, it's because what's funny because like you always talk about like Donald Trump. Because in our eyes he is a bad guy, but like in America's eyes he was just a former president. So like
he's still the president, the rightful president.
You're a Trump supporter? You're a fellow Trump supporter?
No.
That's not what he's saying.
Yeah, I thought you loved that guy, man.
You ever think about how it kind of, if you don't like the rules, and then it kind of sucks.
What do you mean if you don't like the rules?
You can't really go anywhere. Like, let's say.
Oh, you mean in the U.S.?
No, I mean anywhere. Like, there's laws everywhere. Somebody owns everything. You know what I mean? You can't really do whatever you want. Kind of weird, huh?
I was thinking about this actually yesterday. I'm surprised you bring this up. I was thinking about I forgot what brought it up, but I thought about how if somebody killed someone, right? This is gonna sound like super out of left field, but if somebody killed somebody, right? And then he went to jail, and everybody's like, "Why'd you kill that guy?" And it's like, well, I mean, what's so bad about killing a guy?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, because you affect their family, you give them all these objective reasons, and they're like, I mean, that doesn't really matter to me, right?
Yeah.
On an objective level, I mean, he's kind of right, because it's like a belief system.
I guess I think people like take it extreme, which that's fine. I guess the way I see it is like, let's say a tiger wants to like lick his balls in public.
Okay.
Who's gonna stop the tiger? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't do that without getting in trouble.
Uh-huh.
The tiger can go kill another tiger. Nothing's gonna happen to that tiger.
Uh-huh.
He can do whatever he wants, technically. Isn't it kind of weird how you can't technically do whatever you want? Like,
oh, I
you know
was
what I
like,
mean?
yeah, you lost me at first because it was like the tiger can lick its balls and nobody's gonna say anything. I mean, I feel like somebody will say that it's funny at least.
No, but
No,
like,
but
it's
they
not
won't tell
like
him, like,
it's
stop.
not. It's not like the tiger
That's
gets in
bad.
trouble for that.
Well, okay, yeah, this is
It's not that I want to do
no,
that.
I know. This is where, and then my second school of thought. This is perfect. This is what I thought about after I thought of that. I thought about how well, it's because I think, if we're so honest, this didn't feel this way when I was a kid, but now more than ever that it does. I feel like as much as it's bad that we want to remove ourselves from nature and be like, no, we're not part of animals, I think we're smart enough to where we have to now assume that responsibility, that we have to be above our innate nature. And in the sense of like, there are rules and there are laws that we have to put on ourselves because we are just so intelligent and we understand.
Yeah,
right?
probably, because it's like, think about it. Like, I could like kill a guy, right? And like, let's say I get away within the law, I still probably won't get away with it up here. You know, like I'll still feel guilty about it. And I'm always like, that's kind of weird. How come like animals don't feel like guilty like that? How come I feel guilty about that? Like, you know?
I really wish animals could speak to humans. Like, I know we've taught gorillas.
Like they're actually all like riddled with guilt.
Yeah,
they're all like they're all pretty depressed.
Because I read that apparently there's like a theory that lobsters and like a lot of sea creatures
proven, no?
are
Not theory, it's proven. Didn't scientists like they dropped that flag where it's like they are conscious?
Well, how did they prove that though?
I guess a series of tests.
No, but I mean, I saw the study. I saw that they say that lobsters and a lot of like sea creatures are conscious.
It's so fucked up because they boil lobsters alive and they scream.
Yeah,
It's
well,
the air
it's
escaping. They're not actually screaming.
it's also fucked up because there was someone.
Really?
That's what they say.
They're technically some of like the oldest like ancestors of life, you know, because all of life started on
In
the
the
ocean.
Mm.
And they're the ones that like the latest life, us, like we're killing them off by like throwing our garbage and our fucking sewage, our radioactive waste into the ocean. Isn't that kind of ironic?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, if I really get philosophical sometimes I think about how like all this stuff is almost destiny. Like it's like part of nature that we kind of just become the only things from Earth.
But I thought we were slightly removed from nature.
That's why this is our like evolution, right?
Oh, so you think
our level
you
up.
think nothing's gonna be left from Earth except people?
Yeah, it's not that it's not a strong thing that I like to believe. It's a little cynical in the sense of like we can't save everything. I think if we're good humans, we'd want to, and we'd probably like keep Earth as like a zoo or a habitat of where we revive everything. But something about life like feels so destructive to me. To me, I feel like we enjoy destroying and building. We destroy whatever resource we find to build something that's to serve us.
Yeah, you never know. Something could happen and we could get knocked off the peg.
Yeah, it's gonna be the robots.
There could be a real super virus that eliminates us all. There could be like a solar flare that knocks out all the power and sets us back 100 years. It could be a nuclear war and we all die.
Well, right now it could be like the climate, no? Everyone else is experiencing cold and power outages and all that.
Have you seen that?
But not California.
But not California.
Yeah, I mean it's a little cloudy right now, but
It's just raining, you know.
Throwing a
We're in a
jacket.
drought.
I know.
Have you guys seen that all those videos of those poor animals that are like frozen in place?
No.
It's not funny, but
He's laughing.
I've seen the one of
Why
the
you
cats.
laughing?
There's
Oh
one
my
of the
God.
cat. It's like, yo, look what happened to my fucking cat,
no,
yo.
but there's one recently where there's like
I thought it's not funny,
Yeah.
bro.
but it's oh my God.
Why you laughing?
It's like this one where it's like this guy's like tracing a trail of like a mouse, and like it didn't get very far, like it froze in spots. So it's like frozen trying to traverse through the. That's like crazy that like it got so cold that even the animals can't take it.
Have you heard that theory
Wow.
about how the like poles hold like frozen bacteria from millions of years old, that if it was ever unfrozen, it would kill everybody? Have you heard that?
Mhm.
And that's why people are really, well, that's what the conspiracy theorists are scared
Oh,
about, the
that's-
climate
that's-
change.
That's what
Yeah.
the government's actually afraid of.
That like if it continues to melt, it'll eventually release all these diseases. I don't know.
Oh,
Wouldn't you
yeah.
think that if they're really old, our immune system has evolved so much that like it's like nothing to us?
I don't know. Maybe it was like dinosaur COVID, and that's game over.
This
Like,
game.
so what's the official canon on COVID? It's a bat.
Unknown.
Right? It's a bat.
No,
There's
unknown.
no official
Yeah,
canon.
it's unknown.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's unknown. They've found, I think, like,
If
I did a lot of research because I've always found like, and I sound like such a broken record, but I just always found it really interesting. And
do you think it was made in a lab?
yeah, me personally, from the research that I've done, yeah, and
Think it's
this
made in
that's such a hot take. This is like such, I don't even know if I'll keep it in the episode, but there's just so many. There's a lot of actual real life evidence that
Yeah.
point to just like some suspicious things, like Wuhan is home to China's like level 3 like laboratory. And this, I'm gonna say this very objectively and very sincerely, so that way it doesn't come off as me trying to point a finger or anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just lay down the evidence that I saw. Another thing that's very bizarre, like we've said, there still has been no known origin of viruses in the past. Almost every single virus that humanity has come, we've been able to kind of see from which animal. With AIDS, we saw it was kind of like monkeys. And this is also, I'm not gonna get into AIDS because it's even its own thing.
Mhm.
But for that, we were able to find its origin. For COVID, we've been able to find a handful of animals, yes, that like kind of are close to the SARS virus.
Yeah.
But none of them match it to the level that it should, to where we're like, all right, it came from here.
Mm.
The official story is that it was the wet market, right? Because in China, there's so many a mix of different like animals that it's like, oh,
They're
maybe
not-
it
they're not
evolved.
exactly kept in good conditions either. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it evolved to around all these like specimens. But in the same Wuhan, in the lab 3, you're able to leave like these cliff notes of, if you work there, of like just stuff about the company. And months before the pandemic happened in 2019, there was multiple like entries of doctors saying that they had a very valid fear that something would leak out of the lab because there was malpractice in the lab. It was just people were being very unprofessional, weren't washing their hands, weren't
Mhm.
making sure that they're what's it called when you like chemical bath yourself?
Yeah.
sanitized.
Yeah, that things were properly
Sterilized
sanitized.
or whatever?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there was you could read it that they were there. There was valid complaints from doctors in Wuhan saying like, hey, like we might have a breach. We might have something that leaks eventually. Like we need to like increase like our standards.
And these were the doctors that were thrown in jail, right?
I can't for certain say that, but they were doctors that existed and worked in these Wuhan labs that left these notes there, right? But that's another thing. Even though those guys, the doctors, I can't confirm if they're the same ones, but China has shown that doctors who have said things, spoken out, saying that I worked at labs in Wuhan, were the same ones that were jailed. Journalists who came over there who tried to private investigate what happened with COVID were killed. Were on paper killed and put away. You know. The biggest one was when the World Health Organization, they went over to investigate and China turned them away because they said they weren't ready. And then I think it was like a month they left and then came back. This was like all over the news. This is like mainstream news. And yeah, maybe it was like American propaganda that they're working on me, and like I'm just falling into the fucking pit. But there's just so much suspicious things that kind of lead to an arrow of it being man-made. And I'm not, and like I said, I'm not trying to point a finger. I'm not saying like COVID released this because they wanted to take control I mean COVID, China released this because they wanted to take over the world. I think it's a lot more of just human error. The same way tragedies in the past have happened. History always repeats itself. Chernobyl wasn't like a evil mastermind trying to poison the world. Complete just fucked up accident, you know. I think COVID's the same way.
No, yeah, that's you said it way better than I was trying to say it. But like I was just, the point I was trying to make is that like I believe their fears. Like I'm sure they're terrified. They know better than anybody because I mean they're the ones dealing with it the most, you know. But I just find it kind of weird how like at first they acted so weird about it, and now that it's all said and done, now that they're super concerned about it. You know, it's kind of like, well, what do we do now? You know, like everybody's had it eventually. You know, it's kind of like, you know, it's like, what do we do then? You know, like what do we do? They don't want to use our vaccines or anything. So what do we do? Just
as far as us here, people who live here in the States, right? Anybody who lives here, all we can do is just keep living our lives and hopefully in 30 years people don't start just croaking out of nowhere and it's like because of the virus or
we get those
dude, I read this theory. I've been fear mongering. If you guys don't know what fear mongering is, it just means like you're kind of in this perpetual cycle of thinking of like bad things that might happen. I've been fear mongering a little just about COVID. I've been reading some theories on it. One theory was saying that that COVID strengthens other diseases. And so even the COVID virus is always in you. So let's say you then get like a cold or you get pneumonia or you get something, it makes those stronger. And even if it's, and maybe even just slightly, but over the course of years and years and years,
wear and tear on your body.
It's not just wear and tear on the body, but a common disease like a cold becomes deadly.
Yeah.
And that the fear is that like 30 years from now, every disease that's around here is going to be like 10 times stronger. And so like the mortality rate is gonna fucking like skyrocket for just being sick. And in a weird way, I guess it'll be like how we were talking about earlier.
To the dark ages.
It'll be back to the dark ages. Cause I mean, it's a fear that even before COVID, doctors had.
The antibiotics thing.
Yeah.
People don't use them right.
Yeah.
So well, for the record, if you're prescribed antibiotics, you're supposed to take them exactly as prescribed. Because it's like, I don't remember, but like if you use them improperly, you're basically making like a superbug that's like gonna one day be immune to antibiotics. And that's like, because wasn't it antibiotics that cured the plague?
Antibiotics was mainly like used when in the first, I think, World War. It was penicillin. Penicillin changed the game.
But I remember one time, at least in school, this could be wrong, was that I think that in some instances with the plague, poor people who would eat moldy bread would survive because there's antibiotics in mold, and they didn't know that at the time.
Damn. Okay, I've never heard that. Damn,
yeah,
for real.
I
remember a teacher telling me about that, and that like, so a lot of these people who would have to eat like old moldy shit would end up surviving because it would have antibiotics and help them save them.
Dude, did you see it? There's a company that started putting VR on their chickens.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that? Yeah, they built like specific VR headsets. You know what VR is? They put it on their chicken so that way they can stay in the slaughterhouses, but they see that they're on a farm. and people were saying that like humanity literally just created the first Matrix. Like we just created a complete simulation for animals. Everybody who's gonna live and die on that farm, all the chickens, they're gonna live their entire life thinking that they lived like in this virtual world and not knowing of the actual outside. Because they already don't, like, for chickens that don't get VR, they just live in slaughterhouses their whole lives. But at least for these chickens, they live in a simulation. And is that better, or is that?
I don't know. I think it's kind of sad. Where it's like,
No, yeah, it's definitely the
weird.
the better solution would be to obviously have them on an actual farm. But I'm saying like comparing them to the ones that just live in slaughterhouses and close like.
So are they
proximity?
living happy lives technically?
well, if you were the chicken, would you want that?
Yeah, I'd rather live in
rather-
a simulation than have to live at looking at somebody's ass. Like,
And you're never gonna
That's
know.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
You know-
If your fate was between being like in a enclosed capture most of your
I
life.
guess there's there to me it seems like there's more honor and like
Oh,
like
and
in
you're the Emiliano Zapata.
Yeah.
I'd rather die on my knees. No,
Yeah.
I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
yeah, you know? It's
Yeah.
kinda like,
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I don't know if chickens think about it.
I
that
just think it's
differently.
interesting the whole thing about like COVID now and whatever's gonna happen with it. Because then I keep thinking about like our healthcare, right?
Mm.
Because I keep thinking of like, bro, there's a lot of us who don't even have like insurance or like health insurance to like cover all these things if we ever get sick. And like even going to the doctor if you're just sick, like how they say, they just prescribe you like Advil or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder
Over-the-counter
how that's
shit,
gonna change like the medical like stuff,
Well,
like the medical side of it, and like when you get sick, are you allowed to go to work now?
that thing
kinda thing.
that thing Mark Cuban's doing is pretty interesting.
What's he doing?
You haven't seen it? Where he sells pills online. He has like an online pharmacy, and a lot of the times it's way cheaper than even if you have insurance.
Really?
Yeah, and they're working hard to get insulin on there. So what he does is it's like an online pharmacy. You type in your drug that you need, and it'll show you exactly like the cost of what it takes to make, and it'll show you like what they charge. And usually it's like $5 extra because of like shipping, but it's usually relatively cheap.
Damn.
And they show it side by side with insurance that even with insurance, it's usually much cheaper to get it from there. And he's fighting hard to get insulin on there, which is a really game changer because, you know, insulin, a lot of people have diabetes.
Yeah.
So,
Bro, how long before he gets suicided?
I don't know, right?
What?
You know what's
What
weird?
does that mean though? Like,
It's what
because
they.
he's doing good or what?
Well,
Well,
no,
they-
yeah, it's because they say that putting your conspiracy theory cap on as if it hasn't been on this whole episode,
Yeah.
but like putting it on, everybody says that the biggest enemy to the American public is big pharma. That
Oh, really?
there's so much money to be made in medicine. That like if you ever
Mm.
try to do anything that like makes it more accessible, cheaper for people, big pharma is gonna step in and like whack you
Yeah.
or like
That's what suicide means. Whack you and make it look
Mhm.
like a suicide.
yeah, but you know what's weird? I've really been feeling like, damn, maybe all those conspiracy theories are bullshit. You know why? And you're gonna hate me for saying this,
Why?
but it's because of all the shit Elon Musk has been saying on Twitter
Yeah.
about how he's been exposing like a bunch of companies and like the Twitter files. Have you been looking at that?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen exactly what he says.
The Twitter files are just
Mhm.
like he released all the shady things that Twitter did while he wasn't like the owner. He released that how they put down like the news about Joe Biden's son, about how they purposefully like put down information that was true but it was against the government. And he just basically keeps like provoking like the government and like making memes, posting it. And the only reason that convinces me that maybe all these conspiracies are bullshit is because you would think that he wouldn't even, if these conspiracies were real, he wouldn't even get the chance to tweet something like that, right? Let's say he does eventually kill himself or whatever. I'm like, in my head, he shouldn't have even been able to say that.
It's probably because he's like a mob boss, you know?
You think so?
It's probably like, not like he's an actual mob boss, but like he's probably like he's probably like high rankings in the Illuminati. So it's kind of
He's got some power.
he's already got he's got too much power, you know? It's like it's like if you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
What do you think? What do you guys think about Elon Musk? Because he's such a hot button. He's such a hot topic right now.
I feel like I won't lie. At first, I bought into the propaganda that he was like one of the good ones, that he was on our side. But then, the more and more I hear about him, I'm like, maybe he's just like all the other ones.
He's just a billionaire with a hot head.
Just a
Well, I mean,
billionaire.
what's the bad he's done versus the good?
Well, there was that one time when there was like the cave miners that got stuck, in I can't remember where. But he wanted to make like a submarine to like go get them, and the lead like expedition rescuer was like, that doesn't even make any sense, like that wouldn't work. And so Elon Musk tried to hire like a bunch of people to get dirt out on that guy, and like get him like just basically get him in trouble, because I guess he wanted to use like a submarine instead of like a team of people to save the people stuck in a mine. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
there's the whole where he what did he do to the public transportation? We were gonna have like a high speed railway in California,
Yeah.
but because he did the Boring Company, and
Did.
he's building like underground tunnels for the
Yeah.
so he kind of messed up the public transportation.
So yeah, well, it wasn't just that. It got leaked like in an audio that he said he purposefully did that because he doesn't like public transportation because he thinks it's dehumanizing to people
Yeah.
that people should never be packed in it. Yeah,
That's
that's
one
the
I
yeah.
don't
That to
like.
me is the biggest
That's
one
the
where
one
he
where I
really
was
pissed
like,
me off with that
bruh.
one. He said that humans should never be stacked on each other. It's shoulder to shoulder in public transport. And I remember, man, the comments being like, for real, facts. Like, I hate going on the bus. And I'm like, motherfucker, they're for like people who are in poverty,
There's
man.
also
Yeah.
that
Like-
he has a bunch of allegations against him where he settled where he
Like sexual allegations?
yeah, where he's giving money to people to keep him quiet.
Oh, like hush money.
Yeah.
I didn't
He's
know-
a
I didn't know about
fucking
that one.
honestly, everybody who got
I don't know about that. I didn't know about that one.
I don't know, but it's weird when you're in power. I feel like allegations are just shit that you just like everybody throws at you though.
But I mean, he settled with them though, which kind of means like he like paid them like okay.
Or like, oh, I don't want to go to court.
Oh, he paid
Yeah,
them.
so it kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just hear he's not a great guy. Also, I think the conditions he gets his batteries in, they're like it's basically like slave labor. Like,
Yeah. But did you hear he's trying to get rid of it?
Isn't that mostly with like electric cars?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because lithium ion to get it is like it's really like difficult to get.
Yeah.
And that's what they make batteries out of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are like, it's kind of counterintuitive. With
But
the
it's
whole-
so weird, man. This is where it gets so tricky with this, and because it's bad, and I'm not gonna
Yeah.
defend it and say it's bad,
Yeah.
but like all that shit, lithium batteries, it's literally everybody right now in this room has it on their phone. Like
No, I know.
it's with the cameras running on. It's with the
No, I
cameras running
know,
on.
but I think it's more like it's not like we're saying Apple is like, oh my God, he's our savior, you know.
Oh, I
It's-
get you.
but
But people are saying that about
But with
Elon.
Elon Musk, they're like, oh, he's the one good guy.
Real
He's
life
gonna
Iron
save-
Man?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he should be president, you know.
I legit
Um,
don't like the whole car thing. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. And Teslas, when they first came out, they were interesting. Now they're just like fucking annoying to me. Like, I see a Tesla.
But
and I don't like
why?
them. It's just, I don't know. It's just like, well, it's also the idea of him and like how you said, like, he's a car guy, right?
Mm.
And it's like, why don't we want to make public transportation better? Like, why is it that we keep trying to like invent these cars and stuff? And like, well, we can have cars, right? But we can also try to have like this public transportation and stuff. Like, why can't we have both? You know, I think that's like what bothers me the most of that, and like how he kind of got into that plan.
It's because he's very much a man of the future. He thinks that he wants to innovate everything and
That's
bring
'cause
humanity
I
forward.
guess I just feel like he's kind of like a propaganda machine. And I don't mean like government propaganda. I just think his whole image is like a sell. Like he's not actually like the whole memes and the whole he's hip and cool with it.
Mhm.
It's not really like probably who he is. I think it's more as like a like me, so you buy my products. You know, where it's like oh,
Mhm.
Elon's so cool, like I should get a Tesla.
Mhm.
Elon's so cool, I can't wait for the next Tesla phone. Elon's so cool, like
Mhm.
he knows what we're, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like that, like
I kind of get what you mean.
Yeah.
Or
But
like-
but I guess it's so weird because you ever see interviews. Like I remember I saw the episode he did with Joe Rogan, a fellow friend of ours.
yeah,
I remember he said his like conversation with him was like he's not very egotistical in the conversation, which is so weird because on Twitter he sounds so like narcissistic. But when you watch like interviews that he's in, he's very rarely ever like talking about himself.
Yeah.
He's always talking about his like inventions and his like businesses. Cause I mean, above all else, like he is a smart guy. He's a
Yeah.
very intelligent guy. And I guess what freaks me out about Elon is that like, and he has like a lot of haters and he has like a lot of people who are against him. But he's like, bro, he's genuinely like making so much money. Even with the Twitter thing about everybody's like making fun of it. Yeah, but you notice how you see it because you're still on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I think it's so weird. Like
Because
there's no way to really get rid of him because he's not one of the people who became famous because he's like an influencer.
Well, it's not. I don't know. I'm not really like I'm praying on his downfall. I just more think like people dick ride the shit out of him, where it's more like people swear he can do no wrong, but he's just like any other billionaire where
Yeah.
they have a bunch of They have a bunch
Well,
of
'cause-
skeletons in the closet too. You know, it's not like he's
Yeah.
a perfect guy.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
also feel for him. Like, I remember you showed me a video where I think when he was doing like the space stuff, and he was disappointed that some guy that he looked
Oh,
up to,
yeah.
what was his name?
Neil
Oh, his
Armstrong.
peers,
Neil
yeah.
Armstrong.
Yeah,
It was
that he
Neil
looked up
Armstrong
to him
thought
or
that like
something.
he was like, nah, like you
Yeah.
don't got it like
And
that.
like how he was
And
so
he's, like,
hurt about
crying.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like when I
He's
was
like-
watching those. Yeah, when I was watching those things, like I felt for him because it's like, because you feel that, you know, like you look up to someone, and then when you kind of like do the thing, and then the person you look up to is like not like super proud of it, you know, where it's kind of like that's always been your dream, and for sure for him, all these inventions and all these things were his dreams, but like to hear that one guy be like no, and it's like
It's just I don't.
I mean, but one thing you gotta give the guy is that like you've never seen this side of somebody who's like that high in power. You've never seen somebody expose themselves to the degree that he has. And this isn't me saying that's a good thing, and it's not even me saying it's a bad thing, but it's a very like eye-opening thing about him that I think is why he's so polarizing. Is that he's very open, like he's like a very open guy.
I just think it's marketing. I think that guy just is marketing himself.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just a sale. Like that guy endorses like Ron DeSantis and Trump and shit. Where it's like he's supposed to be this super progressive for the future guy, but he's like, let's keep all these conservatives in power who fucking want to restrict women's rights just because it means I have to pay less taxes on
No,
my
yeah,
businesses.
that's the one thing about him though. He's disconnected from the people. Yeah,
but like to me it's kind of like, well, isn't that kind of like then he's not what everybody thinks he is? He's this man of the people. He's trying to bring humanity forward. Oh, but he's just not connected to people. He doesn't understand. I think he's just a businessman, and he understands business, and all of his decisions are like because he knows what sells. I mean, he's the richest man in the world. He obviously knows something, and like what he's doing is working. It sells, you know. But he's not like Iron Man. He's not a superhero. He's just like he's kind of a dick like the rest of the billionaires, you know. I don't know enough to say that this is my opinion, but there's a lot of people who say that you don't become a billionaire without sacrificing a lot of morals. That you have to cut a lot of corners and fuck a lot of people over to get to that point of power anyways. So to me, I'm kind of like, I don't know that this guy's the guy, you know? He doesn't seem like a great
He's
guy
not
to me,
a cyborg Jesus.
Yeah, he's not like
Electro Jesus.
like, you know,
the new savior.
Because I saw like on TikTok recently that like, you know, the Neuralink thing?
Yeah.
That it's killed like 200 chimps already.
Mm-hmm.
That they've killed a lot of animals.
Okay, but like not saying that's right. But I mean, if you're trying to make something like that, you're gonna have to break a few eggs before you get an omelet.
But like to me, it's kind of like at what point is what this guy does wrong? Like everything he does is like, oh well, it's like, but you know,
it's fine.
It's for the sake of science.
It's for the sake of humanity.
Yeah, and it's like he's doing fucked up shit. I don't want that fucking shit in my brain. Nobody fucking actually wants that. And for what?
I don't know if I'd say nobody wants it.
Well,
I'd guarantee
you want that.
It's not that I want it, but I think if it worked, I'd probably get it.
I call bullshit that people actually want that. All these people fucking refuse to get the vaccine because they think there's a microchip. But Elon Musk slaps his little name on it, and all of a sudden, please inject me with that.
That Neuralink?
Yeah.
You know, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And that goes to show it's not because they like it; it's because it's
the marketing
Elon
just
Musk.
so good.
Yeah, it's Elon Musk.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good
cool.
take.
It sounds cool.
But like, we killed 600 chimps so that like the computer can detect that it licked its ass.
But I mean,
no, I don't know.
Well,
I feel like the Neuralink is gonna fall into that thing where people fight you on getting an Apple phone. Where they're like,
they're gonna clown you, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do this. And like,
Yeah.
I look at my memories.
No, because I think that's what it is. I think it's like with Apple. Like Apple phones aren't there a bunch of phones that do more than what Apple does? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's because
marketing
it's
is
Apple's
genius.
marketing. Yeah, it's Apple's
It's
marketing
genius.
of like you should hate on the green bubble.
No,
and, like, all that shit.
I
So
totally
that's why.
think that Elon Musk, all he does is he's just a marketing genius. He knows how to market himself, and he knows that that's what people want. You know, people want this. There's a market for that shit. We live in the future, so everything we should do should be in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then yeah, because I mean, yeah, you guys are right about the Apple thing. I mean, it's just like it's a social status more than anything. So maybe the Neuralink will be a social
Another thing,
status.
yeah.
You'll just be like, oh, here's a Neuralink. Oh my god, because I mean, people say that even about the Apple Watch that I'm wearing. People say that there was like,
Also, doesn't fucking Elon Musk, didn't he post that meme where he says people who are like trans are brainwashed or stuff?
oh yeah,
Where it's like, I don't know that this guy's the guy.
He said that.
He posted a meme where it's
Oh, he
like,
posted-
you're brainwashed, and it's like a Christian guy, and he's like, really? And then the lame guy in the meme format is like, has a bunch of like gay pride flags and like the trans flag and Black Lives Matter.
but
and
he's
shit
not
like
saying
that.
that. He's not saying trans people are no. But this is what the meme is saying. I'm saying what the meme is saying. The meme is saying that the people who are liberal are brainwashed. He's not saying that people who are gay are brainwashed. He's saying people who are liberal.
But like, come on, bro. I feel like fucking even his ex-wife got mad about that at him once.
Oh yeah.
Rhymes, where she was
Yeah.
like, "This isn't you. This isn't your heart."
But like, I feel like she's want to talk. She literally had a baby with that guy.
Not well. I don't know. The point I'm just trying to make is that this guy is not like a saint. Not that
Yeah.
he is, but
Mhm.
like, then stop. Why does everybody ride his meat till the cows come home?
Mhm.
That he's such a great guy, you know.
I don't know if I say everybody. I think there's a good amount of people there who don't fucking like
I think
him.
a lot of people dick ride him.
Yeah.
I think now he's huge because of Twitter, though.
I feel like
Like-
he used to get more positive dick riding, but now his
Yeah,
dick
he did.
riders are more like the same, like Andrew Tate dick riders. He kind of fell into that like loop.
Mm.
No, I don't know.
So like, what's the limit for like on trying to keep everybody's opinion on this? What's the limit for like age gaps in relationships? And if let's talk about 18 plus, because obviously I don't want to talk about fucking
Kids.
minors.
I don't know. That's like something
I
that.
think it's. Go ahead.
No, you can go.
I just think it's complicated because it's like whenever I see an older dude, like an 18-year-old, I'm always like, "But did you know her before? Like, did you know her a little
Oh,
bit
before she turned
Before
Did
she
you
18.
was
know her?
18?
Did you like? And even if you didn't know her personally, did you know of her existence? Like, were you
Mhm.
looking at her and being like, "Can't
Mhm.
wait till she's legal"? You know?
Mhm.
I feel like the only thing stopping you was the law. Not that it was
Yeah.
right or wrong, just that it was the law.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that doesn't really sit right with me.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah, I feel like I was thinking the same thing because, like, right now, I guess the biggest thing that I've been seeing is Billie Eilish and how she's dating. She's 20 or she just turned 21. Sorry. And she's dating someone who's like 30 something. So,
Mhm.
like 10 year plus older than her. And I think her boyfriend previously to that, don't quote me on this because I don't really follow it that much, but just
Mhm.
as to what I've seen on the internet. She dated someone who previously was also a lot older than her. So she was like 18, 19 or whatever. And I kept thinking, like, is it wrong though? Like, is it wrong? Cause she's what, 20, 21 now, and she's dating a 30-something-year-old guy. Like, is it wrong? Like, and people are saying the wrong part is that he knew her when she was 15.
Mhm.
oh,
And
they like actually knew each other.
yeah, they actually.
But that
knew
like
each other, but
removed,
they're,
right? That removed. Like, let's say these people meet, right?
But I feel like that's something that you have. That's really important that you like can't remove.
Mhm.
Like, I get what you're saying.
No, I know,
100%.
but I mean, in this scenario, remove that. Remove it. Let's
Like,
say,
if
let's
it
say
was-
if
That
you
they
meet, yeah,
actually met,
these
like,
people
they
meet,
met
yeah,
at,
these
like,
people
a-
meet.
It's just tough.
What do you think is the like actual norm? Because people all the time like, and the easy answer is like, oh, well, it's different for everybody. We're like, yes, but people don't treat it as if it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
People treat it as there's this standard.
there's
Billie
a-
Eilish, most people probably don't know that that guy knew her beforehand, but people treat that as like, what the fuck, like a 20-year-old with
I
a
feel
30-year-old.
like it's tough, especially for me, because I just turned 22.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like I'm still on the younger end.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me to say, it's like I could turn 30 and be like, woof, I don't know about
Yeah.
that, you know?
Well, that's that removed. The biggest argument that I hear is that it's because when you're a lot older, especially when you get in your late 20s, not only on a scientific level does your brain develop more, but you understand like relationships and you understand how mature they actually need to be, and to be with somebody who's that young, you're putting yourself in like a
Position of power.
and no, you're putting yourself in a more like a more troubling experience that you don't need to put yourself. This is the concept
as
that
an
I
older,
saw.
as an older person.
Yeah, as an older
Okay.
person, because as an older person, you understand that a relationship is maturity, and it's like meeting parents and meeting friends
Mhm.
and doing this and that. and to then willingly choose to date someone who's younger, who obviously doesn't have that mental capacity or is thinking about dating in that way, you're putting yourself in a more like you're intentionally putting yourself in a more difficult position, and people say that's where it gets problematic, because why are you putting yourself in a more problematic position? It's because you do you like the idea that they're just younger? Do you like that idea of being around like a youthfulness, right? That's the biggest argument that I've seen where it's more objective. Because the knowing them beforehand, you're right. That's already problematic, and that's immediately no.
To me, that's a big
immediately no.
Like if you knew them, like
Before that,
but I guess I just want to figure it out, because I've always just wondered, because people don't treat it as though it's a contextual thing. Like you need to know the context to see if it was right or not. People treat it as a, like, no, like 18-year-old cannot go out with a 27-year-old, you know? So like if we were to take everybody's opinion, then what's the age gap that everybody should follow?
It's really complex, because I mean, I feel like people also react differently when the roles are reversed, you know?
Yeah.
when it's a woman who's older.
Well, if it's a woman who's older and a younger dude, it's like, I don't know. I feel like people's red flags don't go as up, you know? Where it's like, let's say it's a freshly 18-year-old dude and like a 26-year-old or 27, 28-year-old chick. Nobody's really like, whoa. Everybody's more like, nice, bro.
Well,
like you pulled, you know?
You know, it's weird. I saw this thing on Twitter. This is kind of funny. I know you don't know who this is, Julie, but maybe you do. It's a retired porn star from like the early 2000s.
How would I know?
I don't know. Maybe you know because you're a dude.
Yeah.
Her name's Lisa Ann. Do you know her? It just said like a retired. She retired when we were like kids. So yeah.
She hung up the.
Yeah, she hung up the cape.
she hung up the phone.
But she was on an interview and they asked her like, oh, what? Because she was so famous, she was such a porn star. Like, what kind of like obviously rich people? What kind of rich people did she like mess around with? And she said that she liked messing around with athletes, mainly like NBA stars. But what was weird, and this wasn't even like the headline of the article, it was something in the comments that people pointed out that I was like, yikes. So she was like 42 when she was talking about that she was doing all this. And she said that she would purposely go after 18, 19 and 20-year-old like NBA athletes. And she said like, and I quote, she said it's because she really enjoyed that their bodies were young and like, and that mentally they were all still full of life and like full of fun, right? And it's different because like I'm not saying it's different, but I guess the reaction didn't like blow up because she's a older woman and they're dudes, right? Yeah. But I thought it was kind of weird. Yeah. I thought it was kind of weird she said that because she at the time in the context she's 42 going after 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Didn't Brittany Griner that's her name? The chick, she got in trouble for that. You know what I'm talking about, right? The one who was
I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I don't think Brittany Griner, isn't that the Russian girl?
Oh, Brittany Renner? No, that's.
No, I think it's that. Yeah, I think it's Brittany Renner. No? Brittany Renner.
She's like a model, right? That's what she does.
I don't know who she is.
I actually don't know what she does either, but I know who she is. I don't know what she does.
You know of her at least, right? She's like a model, I think, influencer chick. She went on like a podcast and she was like, if you ever want a bag, just fucking athlete. They're dumb as hell. Like they'll knock you up and then you're set for life. I think she did do that. She got pregnant by like an athlete and he's like 19.
Oh yeah.
And like
she's like in her 30s now.
Yeah, she is 30. I looked at her. She's 30. So it's like.
But yeah, it was such like a. Well, I remember when it came out. It's kind of like, it's tricky because she's also very attractive. You know, she's really pretty. She works out like, so it's not like she's not the idea of like a pet, like a creep, right?
But like it's kind of like, what if it was like a really attractive man? Yeah. What if it was like Ryan Gosling?
It was the other way around.
What if because Leonardo DiCaprio kind of, I wouldn't say gets away with it, but like he doesn't like, he kind of does that. No?
Yeah, people think he's good looking, he's handsome. And I don't think Brad Pitt does it, but I'm assuming if he did, he probably people would kind of
like Leonardo. Well, do you think
how old is
Leo's like 50? No. But like, do you think it's wrong that Leo dates like young? I mean,
women?
There's like a chart. I think he keeps them above 21 now.
Because he got the allegations.
Well, because I remember I used to think about it as myself of like if I were to date a young person, right?
Yeah.
Before I used to say like they would all have to be over 21 because I'm like, if we can't even go out and get a drink, like, what the fuck is that shit?
She's like boring.
But now if I'm 26, I feel like I've always thought like maybe 2 years younger than me, and that's it. Because I'm like, that's weird because it's like it's Stevie's age, you know?
No, yeah. I think it's also weird because my sister's 18. So when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, but my sister, though, her age, she seems like a little kid to me. Like, you know? So it's kind of like, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I remember at first it would weird me out because I'm like, oh, if they're like 2 years younger, then they're like Stevie's age. And I thought that was weird. The older I get,
She called me immature, bro.
The older,
Saying I'm
the
a goofy
older,
little
no,
kid.
the older that I got, I was kind of like, oh, it's whatever. Like, it's fine. Like, if they're 2 years younger than me now, because at least to me, like I feel like for me, anyone's gonna look older than me. Like, and I'm also really short, so like I feel like if I were to date someone younger than me, and they're taller than me, I feel like people would just assume that he's older than me.
Have you guys seen that chick on what's that channel that has like My 400-Pound Life and shit?
TLC.
Yeah, she's like on.
I'm
like
a fan.
Oh, you're on season 8 already.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's this like chick who's like she's like 30, but she has like an issue that makes her look like she's like 8.
Oh yeah, I have
about,
seen it.
They
Yeah.
talk about how she like wants to date, but it's like difficult because her mom is always like, "Why do you want to date my daughter?" You know, is it because like, you know?
Yeah,
it's like
because she
okay.
looks like an 8-year-old.
She looks and sounds like if you didn't know, like if you seen this girl, you would never know that she was like actually like 25 or 30, whatever she is. You know, like. What do you guys think about that? Like, do you
I've seen the clips, and she says it's hard to date because sometimes the guys I attract aren't necessarily like the best type of guys because to first of all be attracted to an 8-year-old
because it's like those guys are thinking like, whoa, loophole. You know?
Yeah, for real.
It's like.
Nah, I feel like I couldn't ever see myself doing that. I know who you're talking about, the chick. She seems really cool, but I don't think I could ever just because it's like physically, right? I feel like if you're like into her, it's kind of a little off-putting.
I think it's so sad though, because it's like, oh, she just wants to date. Like,
hey, bro, I tell you, I'm a fan, and she's dating like a dude who's also has the same disease. Yeah.
Oh, she found.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there was a happy ending.
Yeah.
There was a happy
I mean,
ending.
I think the clip that I saw on TikTok, they were having like even like relationship troubles and stuff.
She's dating Hezbollah.
So she's just like everybody else.
Is it like she's dating Hezbollah?
Nah.
You know that guy's like 18, no?
Yeah, he's a adult now. He looks like a little baby.
That guy's hilarious.
Yeah.
Have you seen when he takes a picture with Liver King and he's like, I'd rather take a picture with a dog.
What?
Hezbollah, where he's taking a picture with Liver King and he's like, this guy, I'd rather take a picture with a dog.
Damn, he's got for a fucking small guy. He's got some balls. He's got some big balls.
What do you mean? He's a scary fighter. I wouldn't want to run into that guy.
Because did you ever see that interview where Liver King was being interviewed by I think Ethan? And he's like, oh, like because you're so massive, like is it weird trying to get in sex positions with your wife? And he's like, don't ever talk about my wife like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, my bad. That's so awkward.
I don't know. I feel like I think
Liver King. We've talked about him on the show before. He's the guy who he recently came up in the news because he was finally exposed for.
Oh, really?
Oh, you're surprised?
Who would have known?
He was what?
That he's on steroids.
He's on steroids.
Like I said, like I called the flashback right now. Like flashback to the. I know to that episode where I literally called it.
That guy, bro. He had the world convinced you eat a bull testicle and you look like that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I think in the leak of email, because I think it was a worker who leaked it at like his lab, that he had enough to like kill him. Like,
oh, for real?
I don't know about that, but I think it was in like a joking sense. Oh, that he took a lot. But I think in the report he does take like a lot. Like,
no, if it's kind of funny because I've seen he's had his redemption arc. He's like actually kind of like shown a softer side and shown that he has like a lot of like trouble, like a lot of like mental trouble. Like, and he doesn't have like any like illness, but he deals a lot with like depression and like anxiety and like And the thing about his wife, like you know how he really got mad confrontation with Ethan about mentioning his wife. It's like actually a regular thing. Like he feels very insecure about being with his wife. And I forgot he was on a podcast and he's like this. It was kind of a sweet moment. He's like, one of the guests is telling him like, listen, and you're so hard on yourself. Like, and you're so scared of losing your wife, but she loves you. She literally cares so much for you.
Yeah.
And Liver King's just like, he's just like taking it. He's soaking it. He's not getting mad. He's like soaking it all in. And he's still shirtless. Yeah.
What do you think? Didn't he say he didn't wipe his ass though?
I don't know that.
Yeah, he said
I've never heard
he
that.
didn't wipe his ass and he didn't shower because he said he didn't need to because of what he ate.
Gross.
You know, but did you know,
Are you dead ass?
Yeah, he said that. I mean, he could be lying like the other shit he's lying about, but you know,
He doesn't have a good track record. I don't know. You don't think that type of shit would affect you? You don't think if I ate clean, I wouldn't smell?
but like eating clean means like eating vegetables to me, like not eating raw bull testicle. I'm sure you probably reek. Your breath probably stinks. Eating raw meat all the time. I'd be like,
Yeah.
get the fuck away from me, bro. You smell like a fucking butcher shop.
What do you mean, bro? Maybe that's the natural way.
No.
Maybe that's how we
Have you
should
seen
be.
Drewski talk about how he used to not wipe? You know who Drewski is?
Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen? He says he used to not wipe.
There's no way.
No, and he
He
says
must be
he
joking
says,
around.
No, and he goes into detail. He was like, the rashes just got too much. He'd get rashes from it.
Ew.
You
What
You
the
can get
fuck?
cancer from that
You
shit.
can?
Can
You
you?
can get prostate cancer.
From not wiping?
Because it's bacteria.
I didn't know that.
Isn't it?
Uh-oh.
I think it.
This changes everything.
I've heard that that's why, like, so I started seeing this thing on Twitter where like this girl was like, a lot of guys don't know how to properly wipe their ass,
Yeah.
so that's why a lot of guys usually have like poop on like their underwear. And then they're like, you know that shit could lead to like having like prostate cancer because
my
like it's in your ass and it's
Whoa.
bacteria, like,
Oh my god.
and that's why they're like, you like men should especially like wipe their ass better because it's bad for you. Like it's genuinely bad for you.
Sponsored by Dude Wipes.
Sponsored by
Bro, that's
Dude
funny that they have to emphasize. Have you seen that when they sell baby wipes for men, it's like common practice that
wipes.
men feel very emasculated when they buy them. So
That's why. Dude
now
Wipes.
they're
That's why
branded
they're
as
the
dude
dude
wipes.
wipes.
I think they have military wipes. They have man wipes.
Man wipes.
Yeah, because that's the only way dudes will buy them.
I get
Damn.
bitches wipes.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I've seen the dude wipes. I've seen like my friends have dude wipes.
Does that affect you? Like, let's say you were buying wipes.
in
would
a
you choose-
funny way.
Would you? But like, I mean,
In a
like, do you
funny-
think like if there's the same price, no price difference, would you pick dude wipes over? Like,
I would, yeah, because I think it'd be funny. I'd be like, baby wipes, dude wipes. Come on,
I gotta
like I gotta get the dude wipes.
real, very real, real,
Right?
real.
I'm like for me it's understandable. I'm like, bro, it's fine if you want to be extra clean.
Aren't wipes really bad for like plumbing though?
Yeah, that's why you
Yeah.
just throw them away.
Yeah.
That's why you don't
Yeah,
throw them
yeah.
in the toilet.
America should popularize bidets.
Well, cause
Bidets.
I've heard the wipe thing, like apparently it's like a big thing in like the Hispanic community. Cause I remember growing up, some older relatives that I have were saying that it was gay to stick like your fingers around your asshole. This is so okay. This is like really gross, but I'm just saying like that's what I remember. I remember
It
people.
was gay to wipe.
Yeah, it was basically gay to wipe. Yeah, it's like I guess because there's a
Really?
lot of machismo in
They
the
said that?
culture.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
That's
I
insane.
didn't know
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Well, it's because just like machismo. Machismo be having you doing the
Yeah.
craziest shit.
But I'm
Wow.
telling y'all that I've heard that it's bad because it's really bad
I don't.
bacteria.
I don't.
I'm just
I know, I'm
saying
not- I'm
to
not-
the audience.
Well, I don't want you in the audience if you don't wipe, bro.
If you don't wipe your
Get
ass,
out if you're that kind of person.
bro. I thought we were all accepting, open mind. Come
Some
on,
people who don't wipe.
hey, bro. Maybe
You'd invite someone over to your house and sit down and let them sit down on your couch. Or what about on your bed,
What if they left a stain?
bro?
Ew. Nah, I don't want to keep talking about this. Gross. It's fucking.
What happened? I thought they were
disgusting.
I thought we were
We're all
open
included.
minded.
They're still the homies, but they're not allowed in my house.
I don't know about they're the homies.
Well, what would you do if the dogs were always just sniffing their butts?
Oh yeah.
Because they're like,
Oh, I thought you were saying if dogs are always sniffing their own butt. I'm like, I mean, don't they?
No, your friends, but
Our dogs don't wipe, and you love your dog.
They do wipe.
Yeah, but that's
They
why
wipe
he's
on the
outside.
grass.
They don't
That's why
tell when they have
he's
work.
outside.
That's why he's outside. That's why my homie doesn't come in.
So he's invited to chill outside.
The kickbacks and shit, but not inside the
Not inside the house.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. No, not inside the house, bro.
Come on, bro. I thought we talked about this. Like, no way. Not with that smell.
That's insane.
So what was your last topic that you had?
Oh, that I wanted to talk about.
So
Okay,
where did
so-
you hear
so have
this?
you seen-
So where
okay,
did you
okay,
hear this
okay.
from?
Do you think words change meaning over time? Do you think when things start? You know what, actually, I'll just go right into it. So I know everybody's gonna think like I'm like a party pooper, and I get it's funny, but like calling somebody Edgar is kind of racist. And okay. But listen to me. Hear me out. Hear me out.
But why?
The reason why I feel this way is because all words, when they start, they have a certain meaning, but over time, the way people use them, it kind of changes what that word means, right? And I feel like Edgar has become kind of a racial stereotypical name that you call someone. And I could use other examples of other races, right? I don't want to because like I feel like it's racist in itself. But think about like somebody who's black, and think about a stereotypical name for them. And think about how if you every time you see a black person, you call them, hey, look, there's a so and so. You know, you use the same name. Or think about you see a Chinese guy. Look, hey, look, there's. You can say it? Can you say it?
Like if you were to say like, oh hey Ling Ling or some shit like.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, there goes.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel as though Edgar is kind of using the
becoming that.
is using the same way, and I have actual evidence for this. There's a video that went semi-viral out there of cops literally harassing a group of teenage Latino kids and using their mic to call them Edgar, like Edgar, and I'm like, bro, just imagine if they did the same thing with a black person. It'd fucking go viral. It'd be like national news. But for some reason, people aren't doing it. And I get it because it's funny. It's a joke. I don't mean to be a party pooper or anything. But I'm just saying it's starting to become like an actual like racial stereotype, like harmful word. And I'll bring up another example that I saw yesterday. And this is when I was like, I need to talk about this on the podcast. You get all fucking mad at me or whatever. But this Instagram account called Face of LAPD, which shows just basically it's run by cops, and it's just shows you like what they're up to, mainly in like dangerous neighborhoods and all that shit. They sent out a warning about just in LA, if you're visiting for the holidays, like watch out for your belongings or whatever. And they ended it with saying, keep your awareness high with Edgar-like characters that have a broken vocabulary. Whoa. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds pretty fucking racist to me.
This is the
Faces of LAPD. It's like an account run by cops. It's not like an official association, but it's mainly all about cops, and it's run by people who love cops. Wow. And to me, I don't know, you could call me like a party pooper or whatever, but I'm gonna stand for my community, and I'm gonna say, I don't know, guys. I'm starting to think that this like calling people as a joke, like Edgar, is starting to kind of have a little bit of a negative connotation for me. And this is just one of two examples of the cops using it. And you already know in LA has a history of racist cops. So to me, this is why I actually take it kind of seriously. And I feel like I should bring awareness, because I feel like a lot of people, even our own community, has a history of kind of just accepting like this type of like abuse. They're just like, oh, come on, guys, like let's just laugh about it, and it's just funny, you know. But I don't think it's something to just take lying down.
No, you're spitting it, bro. You're spitting.
Thank you. I feel like I had to stand up for my community.
It's really interesting because, like, everyone I know or consider a friend, Mexican. The only person who's not Mexican is maybe Chad. And 100%. So, like, whenever I heard that, the Edgar term, it was only through that, like through Mexican media, or like, so I never, just in my mind, I never had heard another like. Nationality or race really use it until that. But when you put it like that, I'm kind of like, whoa, that does sound weird, you know? So it's interesting, especially because I feel like Edgar's pretty new. I mean, maybe you can trace its origins back a little bit. But I feel like I didn't start hearing that until like high school, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's weird to like see it develop into like to be misused or in a more like just see it change in real time, you know.
Yeah.
Because at first it was more like it was how people would roast each other, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, you look like an Edgar, like, you
Yeah.
know, like that. But like you said, when you put it like that, it's like, whoa,
Right.
I didn't see it
Yeah.
that way.
Well, because words change meaning all the time, man. Like I understood that it is, yeah, like you said, it was meant to be funny, and weirdly enough, it's an in joke in the community, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny when people who are from that like ethnic group use it,
Yeah.
because obviously we
Yeah.
can use it, but
Yeah.
it's kind of the same argument for other like words that other ethnic groups
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
Like once somebody outside that group starts using it, it's when it becomes a little more problematic because
Yeah.
you're using it. Why? Like, why are you calling that guy an Edgar? Like, I see
Yeah.
it on TikTok all the time. Like,
Yeah.
people who are from the fucking Midwest
Yeah.
being like, oh, like a bunch of fucking Edgars, because it's becoming derogatory. It's
Yeah.
becoming like it's you when you call somebody an
Yeah.
Edgar, it's like it's supposed to be an insult.
Yeah.
So then what do we do, bro? Should we as the community stop saying that then?
No, but I think to me the most important thing is just to be aware of like the meaning changing, because when you're unaware and you're like it's just a joke, then like the worse it becomes, the more that fact that fucking police officers use it to describe like
That's weird. That's
right.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
now it was starting to kind of feel like the red flag coming up,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't know, guys, I'm starting to feel a little weird about saying
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I felt weird when I just see people who are outside the community use it.
But you don't think then that we ourselves should stop doing that, kind of like stereotyping ourselves in that?
You know, that's an interesting. You don't have to give an opinion on it because none of us are in that ethnic group.
Mm-hmm.
But just to give an example, a while ago, maybe 2021, I want to say, Kyrie Irving got into a fight with the Lakers point guard, I think, at the time, or he might be point guard, I don't remember. Is Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is black, and so is Kyrie Irving. And Dennis Schroeder called him the N-word, in like a, not in like, you know, in the way like a white person would throw it at you, but like you know,
more casually.
And Kyrie Irving got really upset about it, like the fact that they both got ejected from the game, and he later went on to put out like I think a Twitter statement where he said that he doesn't believe in taking back that word. He says all it is just bad, and that there's no such thing as taking it back, and that it should just be dead and buried, and nobody should use it, not even black people. So that being said, do you think that that Mexican people should do that, or people of Latin descent should do that with that kind of stuff? Do you agree with that? And
Yeah,
do you
okay,
think do you think that taking back words is bullshit?
I wanna say I don't think so. I have to disagree with Kyrie on this, because I think yeah, with my fellow colleague, because I feel like I hate nothing more than giving words power, because words, even though words are powerful, I think when you try to ban or stay away from things is when you kind of give them more of a pedestal to stand up and really stand out. Like let's say Edgar, let's say I'm like, fuck it, nobody can say it. So then when somebody does say it, it hurts even more. You know, it's counterintuitive in my opinion. I just think that like, it's so hard, man. It's so hard, right? Because you're right. Like, how do I go about this now? What do we do now? What do we just stop saying Edgar? That to me doesn't seem like the solution. Because it's a limit on freedoms, and we all should be free to say however we feel. But I think I'm just not comfortable with the level of disrespect people in our community sometimes accept. I feel like people in our community accept so much disrespect from the mainstream media, and it's always pushed off as like, let's just, bro, come on, it's not that serious. It's not that funny. Then when is it ever serious? Because I never see anybody ever take these issues serious. You know? And I'm like, somebody needs to stand up and do it. And I don't know what the solution is. I guess I more just want to start the conversation. But I don't agree either with that we should just stop saying it, period. Because I'm very much a freedom guy. Not saying wait a minute, not saying I stand, not saying that I stand with like the US or anything, but I just mean people should be free to do whatever they want, even if it's bad or good. But it doesn't mean that people are free of consequences for whatever they do, right?
Nah, you're spitting,
and
bro.
I'm trying to emphasize that there's consequences that should be brought upon certain things.
Yeah.
But what do you think, Julie?
I don't know. Because at first I was gonna say like, it's interesting when people say that they want to take back a word, like use it differently. Um, but I think for the biggest part, it just sucks when people abuse it and like who don't necessarily or according to people like can't really say it. But I agree with you and like I think I also kind of just want to know what the solution could be, and I think it just really sucks how you gave like that example of like now it's like the cops are kind of using it that way, because I feel like I think it just sucks of like when there's a word and like it just gets abused a lot, and I think that's just always like the sucky part of like a lot of things. Like within our community, I'm sure we have like a lot more different words that we joke around about, and then once we hear it outside of it, it's like, what the fuck? Like, why would you say that? It's kind of like we find it very offensive sometimes because then it gets abused. I think it's just words just get abused, like they just get misused or like, and I think it's just things that are kind of like bound to happen.
So we just accept it.
No, I'm not saying like we should accept it. I'm saying like I don't know, because then it's like do you restrict people from certain words because you're not part of those groups? Like, is that right to do?
The
Like the Edgar
angry
word, right?
side of me wants to be like, fuck yeah. Like certain groups shouldn't be able to say certain things, and I'm fine with if I can't say certain words from certain groups.
Yeah.
I think like out of everything, I think it's out of pocket as hell that the police are saying that. I'm not saying like it's cool if like a white guy, some random white guy says it, but I do think it's almost an entirely different conversation when the police are doing that.
I guess
You know
like
what I'm
it
saying?
depends on the context then.
No, not even that. I just mean like I just think it's like it's almost its own beast. That like I'm almost like, whoa, the police are doing this.
Yeah.
Like that's the cops. Those are the people who are supposed to like be professional. We're supposed to talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're out here being like, hey, Edgar, like
Yeah.
antagonizing like kids, and calling them like names and stuff. It's like that's like weird, I don't know. I don't know.
I think that's like the biggest like part that also gets me is that like
It really blew your guys' mind,
Yeah.
huh? When I showed you guys that.
It's like because both of those examples were police, you know. And I'm sure it happens, but I haven't seen a video yet of like an angry white guy being like, "You Edgar,"
Yeah.
So
But it might be coming sooner
no,
than you
I'm
might
sure,
think.
I'm
I
sure.
mean,
We'll
I mean, if it's starting from there, it's for sure.
It's because you know why? Because it hits different for me. Because people have always because I look very can't hide what I look like. I look very Mexican, like depending on what I'm wearing, right? And like growing up, like I've fucking heard hundreds of times people call me yo Jose, yo Juan, like
that
people.
happened. That happened.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Yeah,
that happened in school once, where in when we were when
that
we
was
went
in
to,
college.
Yeah, in college. Yeah.
It was funny though.
It was.
I don't know.
Go ahead. You want to tell a story?
It was a little funny. I forgot what, but we were writing something, and we had to like show the professor like what we wrote or something, and then like I did, and she was like, "Oh, maybe you want to share with like Jose," and his name is not Jose. It's
my
Steve.
name is Steve.
Yeah,
and that's what like kind of like doubles down on me is that I have such like a very normal white name.
Yeah.
That when people like
Steve.
mistake me, bro, because it's the first time. I'm telling you, it's not the first time a teacher accidentally called me like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll get George to do it for you, Jorge to do it for you," and I'm like, "My name's Steve."
Juan.
Juan.
You know what I do think? I mean, I don't know if it's funny, but it's kind of funny how Edgar's is like just a regular name. Like Edgar's a name,
Yeah.
It's not like it's like Don Julio Martinez. All these things.
I know, right?
It's like it's just. There's people who actually are named Edgar.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's stuff to laugh about. I mean,
Yeah.
even though people have constantly called me these names, something that at least incident, I laughed just because it was so out of the blue, and the type of person she is, the professor was.
No, because
she didn't seem like she was a racist.
It was that there was somebody who actually was named Jose in that class. And
I guess we all look alike.
no, and then that because Steve would always like raise his hand, and so would this Jose guy. So I think she like got confused.
Yeah.
I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, he's giving her the benefit of that.
But so maybe.
But she was a white woman.
She was a white woman.
Yeah.
It was a little funny in the moment because she was like, "Oh
No,
Yeah,
okay. Oh,
Brandon.
hey, bro, laugh now, cry later.
oh yeah, all right."
I don't know. I feel like that's a super complex thing, but I would love to hear what people would to say.
Yeah.
You know, with
Leave in the comments if
evidence,
you've ever
with-
felt like people have.
Y'all soft.
I know, yeah. Everybody's gonna say that we're soft or that like, oh, come on, just joke around, like. But yet, like, if I call them a LatinX, they'll lose their shit.
I know, right?
You call me a wetback, you can call me a beaner, but you better not call me a Latinx.
You know what? You're right. You know what I think is so weird is I've seen people tweet that I'd rather be called a slur than Latinx.
right?
I'm like, is it really that serious, bro? Like,
Is it that?
well, because they're like, oh,
What's so bad about
well,
it?
because they're like, oh, the language doesn't exist. The language didn't exist, period, bro. Spanish is a colonizer language, you know? It's kind of like, I don't know that you're going to win that argument,
Bro, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. You don't want to hear what I'd say about that shit. I have so much like empathy for no Sabo kids, bro. Like I don't even like the term no Sabo kids because like I love in Wakanda Forever when Namor he describes that when he came back to the surface of Mexico that the people spoke of a hateful language and he was talking about Spanish. Cause like, bro, like there's like a history of people in Mexico, like kids who knew their native tongue, like whether it was like Zapotec or like Nahua or fucking the many other languages that are native to Mexico. When they would speak it, they would get like criticized. They would tell them like, oh, don't talk that. Speak Spanish. You know, when you call someone a no Sabo kid, you're kind of like contributing to like modern colonization. You know, because it's Spanish comes from Spain and Spain is in Europe. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why there's so much pride. And I understand it's because, like, oh, you know, you keep in touch with your culture. Yeah, I get it. But if you really want to go deeper in that, to keep in touch with your culture is to learn the native tongue.
No, you're spitting. It's more like I was never, I don't know. I never really had a gripe with Spanish. Like, if you spoke Spanish, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's weird how people are like, nah, I refuse to be called Latinx because it's improper Spanish and that's my culture.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it's like, well, I don't know about that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Like it just doesn't make sense.
It's more like,
It doesn't make sense.
well, I get
Well,
it. It's because like
The argument doesn't add up.
Well, I don't know. Okay, well,
It's-
this is different. This is
it's
different
tricky,
than.
though. It's tricky though, I will say, because it's like the Mexican culture is like an amalgamation of a lot of things. You know what I mean? Where it's like you can say that about a lot of stuff. Where it's like the Virgin Mary is like a very Mexican thing, right?
Mhm.
But that's not like that's obviously not the native religion. You know?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's you know what I mean?
I saw an argument. I saw an argument that like, and then I can only ever really speak of Mexican American things because I've only experienced like Mexican Americans. Wasn't born in Mexico. I didn't live in Mexico. I've been to Mexico a whole fuck ton of times, but I've never really understood. But an argument that I heard is that what's weird about Mexican culture is that a lot of it is actually cultural appropriation from the natives who live there because there's so many different tribes who like Dia de los Muertos. It comes from one specific tribe that I wish I could name, but I can't. But it's still, even that holiday is a mix of like a bunch of other holidays. And when people celebrate that in Mexico, a lot of people are actually cultural like appropriating like the holiday, which is weird because you would think it's not because it's a Mexican like holiday, right?
Cultural appropriation inception, bro.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I remember. You know how you mentioned Tenoch, the guy who plays Namor in Wakanda Forever, how he doesn't identify as indigenous. There's this quote that he not in the same interview but in a different interview he said that the thing that's weird about Mexico is that he feels as though talking about sports and politics is a lot easier than ever talking about race in Mexico because it's something that people do not want to talk about.
Yeah.
He doesn't he hate, have you seen he hates like bachata or something?
He does.
He hates it's like a genre of music that's very popular in Mexico. And one of them and he says like it's one of the reasons he hates people in general. Like, he hates that music.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Which one is it though?
He's rocking the boat. I fuck with that.
I can't remember, but it's like old tweets. Those are his controversial tweets. He doesn't like a genre of music.
Because I was like, he was dancing like fucking
with
Elvis
Lupita?
Crespo. Yeah.
I forgot what it is. I don't know.
And that shit annoys me because like people always gotta play fucking Suavemente and like Gasolina, and I'm like, bro, there's more songs to like. There's more. There's more Latin music than just Suavemente. And
But going back to
Gasolina.
the LatinX thing real quick.
yeah.
Going back to the LatinX thing real quick. I actually I let people give a pass if they don't like the LatinX thing, because I understand the argument of it's technically a made up term, because like well, words are made up, but I mean in this case it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's kind of like I don't know. I guess the way I kind of see it is it's a little tough because it's like, because there's a lot of native like erasure in Mexico. I feel like it's kind of like they're trying to find something, and I can't really blame them for that, you know. So where they're like, where it's like, how would they know their own native tongue? It's like some of them might not even know where the fuck they're from, you know.
I wouldn't even say some. Most people don't know.
Yeah, where it's like, because all this time spent like erasing that identity from them, and so it's hard to be like, you know what I mean? Like I understand they're latching to Spanish, or to certain things that may not be from there, because it's like, well, they want an identity, you know, like everybody does, you know. So it's kind of like I can't be too like but like I don't know. I don't know about the one thing I don't know about is like a slur is better than Latinx, like bro. I don't know about that, you know.
Or don't call them no Sabo kids either. Well, dude, no Sabo is like fucking like Mexican Americans' favorite insult too.
Is that the ultimate disrespect?
I don't think so. But this, of course, I have a very controversial take. I really don't like the term no Sabo kid. But you can't even call me a no Sabo kid because my mom doesn't even speak English. So I probably know Spanish better than a lot of people call me a no Sabo kid. Just saying. But beyond that, I guess if you want to like latch on to the Spanish, I understand, just because did you hear that study of knowing the like language of the country that your parents are from, it leads to a stronger like self-esteem.
Really?
Yeah. For people, for the person.
Really?
Yeah, that like it was a study done. Yeah, it was a study done on immigrant, and then first generation, second, and then third, and so on. It showed that usually the language gets lost or already by the second generation. So usually, like our kids, it's like it's very likely they won't speak Spanish.
That ain't happening. That ain't happening.
Hey, what did I just say? Colonizer lover of colonizer lover.
That ain't happening, bro.
I'm teaching them the native tongue. Is what I'm gonna teach them.
You wouldn't teach them now.
They're gonna know three.
I was gonna say you wouldn't teach them now over Spanish.
I need to learn it first. I first need to learn where like my parents are from, like where my culture.
I know my dad. I don't know my mom's side. I just know my dad's not.
Yeah, I need to know like where my family's from.
And that's in what state or what part of Mexico?
It's down like near Oaxaca. It's Puebla. It's like around that area. Oaxaca, yeah, Oaxaca, home of some of the most indigenous people.
Oaxaca and
that's
Puebla
the mole capital of the country, right?
Yeah, both Oaxaca and Puebla. Yeah.
That's why I always rep my brothers and sisters, bro. That's why I'm gonna teach my kids only now, not even English, not even Spanish. They're gonna be speaking only native tongue.
No, they're not gonna speak English.
I don't care if that means they can't go to school, bro. I don't care.
I'm homeschooling them. What was the question again? If I'm gonna teach. Oh no, you're talking about the study.
Oh yeah. So my bad. So it showed you that usually gets lost already by like basically the first generation. But it showed that if the first generation pushes past it and teaches their second gen, that kid grows up with a higher self-esteem, and it's because they're able to connect more with a sense of belonging. And it's so crazy because it's what we were talking about how I feel like a lot of people have like an identity crisis. But they say that the self-esteem, like the strong self-esteem, comes because they feel so much more connected to a culture, to a community. And also they said also because it's easier to talk to the grandparents, because it's a big thing to where the grandparents can't talk to the grandchild. And it's sad because I kind of see it with my nephew a little. My nephew's kind of
he
like,
doesn't really understand.
I mean, no, he knows Spanish. He understands it because he spends a lot of time with my mom. Like I said, my mom doesn't know English. But my brother said that he doesn't like speaking Spanish to him.
Oh,
yeah. And I don't know. I mean, he's just 4 years old. Hopefully, he grows into it. I'll force. I guess we'll force
I
it on
think
him.
it's I think
Or should I?
it's-
You know what? I'm gonna start with my nephew.
No,
I'm
I
gonna start
think
teaching him now.
I think it's a thing of just like society of like school is
Society.
like they need to know English, they need to read in English.
Yeah.
So it's more of like and I feel like I remember hearing him talk about it of like if kids know Spanish before they know English, usually it's harder for them to learn in school. So it's like an actual study that he like read about once he had a kid
Oh.
where he was like, oh, like if I teach him Spanish, like
Oh,
and that's
for
his
real?
first
Damn.
language. That's why like I don't like for most part when in schools like if your first language, if you ever put down that your first language was Spanish, they'll put you in like remedial English or something, cause like they're like, well, you don't know how to like read it or speak it or whatever. Um, that's why I always lied. I always put like I know English first before I know Spanish.
Damn.
Wow, I didn't know.
I did end up in like remedial English because my parents had put down that I know Spanish. Because that's the only thing that we would speak in our household. Like my parents.
Man,
would
I
message
remember
us in
I
English.
had-
You wouldn't talk to Steve in English?
I had fucking
No, I mean we talk to each other in English, but like with my parents, I speak Spanish.
Oh.
Like I always like we always change. Like if I'm talking to him, I'm talking to him in English. But if I'm talking to my mom, I'm talking in Spanish.
Bro, I think I got put into what was it called? Like, did I get put into like special ed or what was? Why did I
No, I
have
don't-
like special reading classes for?
Oh, you think it was because of that?
It was
Mm.
probably because
It might have been because
Oh,
of that.
you mean in school when they would take you to like the bunkers?
Yeah, they take me out back to shoot me in the head, bro, because I was too stupid. Yeah,
I remember that too. They
Oh,
used to
so
take me
that's
to-
what that was?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's what
yeah.
it is.
Oh.
It's because we spoke broken English.
Yeah, that's what it was for.
You guys talked fine to me.
It was.
It's 'cause
it
it's-
legit. I feel like I
guess-
remember. I remember them having us there, and then like the teacher would be like, "Read what it says right there." Like if I didn't know like what
They'd
it
be
said.
talking to me like I just was fresh off the border, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
like I remember that
Pretend
too.
it's this is your tacos that you're eating, but it's
Yeah.
and it's like
No,
show me a
bro,
picture of a
like
burger.
I genuinely remember that because like for us it genuinely was that like because they had put that like our first language like because my parents didn't know. They were like they
Yeah.
probably asked them like,
They're
oh,
probably
what's the
like,
language?
"Oh."
They were like, what's the language that you guys speak in the household? And they were like, oh, Spanish. And then they were like, oh, so they only
I didn't know they
Spanish.
did that. Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
they do that, and they still do that in certain things. I know I've done it recently where they still like ask me like, "What's my first language?" I always say it's English.
Man,
Yeah.
dude, I hated that. I always felt so like not even like outcast is not even the word. I just felt like, man, like I hate it whenever I'd be put in programs just because like my parents were immigrants.
That's interesting though. But
Yeah.
like, I feel like the school we went to was like everybody. Like,
Was an immigrant?
am I tripping? I feel
No,
like
yeah, a lot of yeah. That,
everybody there seemed to, I thought was their first language was Spanish.
I
Like,
would-
I swear there
when
were
I-
kids
when
there
I
who almost
met-
couldn't speak English.
No, when
right?
when I met a lot of at least for my grade, when I met a lot of like the parents were good at English though. Like at least for me, when I eventually would meet like or like see their parents, yeah, a lot of them were like pretty much like their parents already knew English or like they weren't even first gen or like they weren't immigrants for the most part. At least my class. My class wasn't. My class was very like a lot of them were like second, third gen like cuz I remember I feel like I was the one who always knew Spanish out of like my classmates for the most part. And for the most part they were like third generation kids.
Were you're second, right?
I don't know.
Was your who came to America in your family tree? Was it your
My
dad or your
my
grandparent?
grandpa.
Your grandpa. So your dad would be first, and then
So
you
I'm
would be
second
second.
then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was your mom? Was her parents? Did they
No,
come to
I think it's
America?
I think it's the same. I think it's the.
Then yeah,
gra-
you're second.
grandpas
You're
are
second
both, yeah.
generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy because I feel like your Spanish is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? I'm surprised because your dad. I don't know if I ever told you, Julie, but I remember the first time I met your dad. I remember I was like, "Hola, hola,"
Yeah,
and then
he
he's like, "What's up, Steve?"
No, yeah. No, I mostly learned it from my family that lives here.
Mhm.
They don't speak English.
Oh.
So as a kid, I picked it up there. So interesting for me because actually their kid was in your class, my cousin. And I don't know. I
I
guess
feel like I
Oh,
know who you're talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. It's always I guess I never really gave much thought about it. What it's like to like at home know Spanish but learn it at school English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cause Jenny, like my brother, I think told my parents one time, he was like, yeah, like if he learns Spanish at home, like he's more likely to struggle reading and writing in English at school. So
Well, 'cause
that's why I think that's why they teach him. They just talk to him in English because they're like, they don't want him to struggle in school.
Because most people who learn English, who it wasn't their first language, they always say English is like the hardest language to learn. I remember Jackie Chan said it in an interview. He's like he knows like a bunch of languages, and he's like, no.
Really? I found it to be the easiest.
Bro, no, but it's low key a flex. Cause like luckily since we were born here, like English is obviously fucking nature to us.
Yeah.
But a lot of people around the world say English is one of the hardest languages to learn.
Aren't there like the in the future it's gonna be mostly English, Spanish, and Mandarin?
I think so. Yeah, I think the winner right now is gonna be Mandarin. I think that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Unless never mind. I'm not gonna say.
Gotta learn Mandarin so that I can have that stone.
Being chilling.
Yeah, Bing chilling.
You know what that means?
No.
Ice cream, right?
I think so.
You know, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah, John
it.
Cena
He's pretty
speaks
good.
like Mandarin pretty good. Yeah.
That's why
Oh, really?
I could have learned Cantonese, but my grandma never taught me.
Oh, for real?
She spoke Cantonese, but that's the one that a lot of people don't speak.
Is that the one you get shamed for speaking or what?
I think it's also a lot harder than Mandarin. I remember looking it up if it was like French and Spanish, where it's like, oh, if you know one, you kind of can get No, not at all. Like they're completely different.
Do you guys think like you guys ever hear your family's origin story of how they got to America? Do you feel like you guys had that dog in you? You guys could do the same?
Nah,
No.
dude, I remember
No.
You guys both immediately were like, nah, come on,
No.
guys.
one of my I mean, I guess one of my uncle, we consider him an uncle. He was a while ago. He was telling me about how he came across the border and that like he was in a truck and it was just a bunch of people stacked on top of each other.
Shit.
And that he was like, it was the hottest I've ever felt in my life. Like he was like, I thought I was gonna like die. I was so hot. Like it was because like all the heat and it's the desert and shit. And I was like, man, I can barely last with like the heater in the car. I can without fucking needing air. Like that's crazy, So like, I don't know.
The one that I just think about. Well, my mom, Julie, you think you could do what mom did, and she swam the river? No,
She was pregnant.
She was pregnant with your older
with my brother. Yeah, she was I think 7 months pregnant.
So she had that extra dog in her.
Yeah.
She wanted a better life, man. She wanted a better life, and then
never mind.
For my dad, the one my dad's kind of funny because sometimes we used to like behind us you could see like all the leafage. We used to always like hike up the mountain, and sometimes on the way down, my dad would always ask him like, so like how was it like when you would like cross the border in the desert? And he's like I'd be like jumping around and like going left and right, and he's like recreating it for me. And he said the craziest thing was he was like on top of like the border fence or whatever. And I guess his like foot, like his pants got caught, and so it kind of tripped him, and he fell from the top all the way to the bottom, and he fell right on his head. And he said that he was just filled with so much adrenaline that he immediately just got up and he just kept running.
How big of a fall was it?
It was probably like 18 feet. Yeah, probably pretty tall. Probably pretty tall. He says it all the time because he says he kind of thinks about it all the time because he's like, I know for a fact if I did that right now at the age I'm at, I would not get up. Damn. I would not get up at all. But damn, bro, like that's why I always show like so much love for like immigrants, bro. Because like,
do you think you can get through it?
And yeah, but maybe it's just the ego talking. Maybe if I really was put in a situation, I'd fold. But I feel it's always been such a thing where I honor and like I have so much respect for my dad because he did that. That I'm like, I wish I could have almost like a trial like that, because he did it on survival, and I think about it all the time that a lot of first generation families, like a lot of them live through just survival, like that's kind of like what they're running on, and this is why I also shout out to all my first generation kids out there. Little piece of advice: go get therapy. Everybody who's from an immigrant family needs therapy, and the reason why is because if you really think about immigrant stories to leave your home and come to a new place and learn a new language and do all this, it's so obviously that they're gonna pass down trauma to you. And I really encourage everybody to really go to therapy, even if you think there's nothing wrong with you, which I am sure a lot of you don't. It's a traumatizing experience that is passed down generations. So I have so much love for you. Just go see a therapist. And maybe that goes for everybody, but especially for my first gen family, I'm telling you, there's no way you guys are living without at least some trauma in there. But I think it's funny to laugh at these issues. Not as in like they're funny,
Yeah.
but it's funny. It's cool to at least like take a chill pill on it, because I think I think you get caught up a little bit too much in the sadness of it, and you
Yeah.
forget to be grateful for everything that you
I
have
mean,
now.
Good.
I mean, look at my dad. He's a citizen now.
Yeah, my dad's a citizen, so you can't come for him anymore. He crossed the he won.
He
won.
That'd
He
be,
won.
bro. That'd be like an interesting game show.
Oh,
If,
like see
if you can survive what it's like to get across the border.
dude, that isn't wow. Like yeah, copyrighted.
Well, this isn't live, so cut that out.
Oh yeah,
Cut
okay,
that out.
okay.
It'd
I was looking at the camera like we were live. That's funny.
be like Squid Game.
Yeah, I wonder.
So when this comes out, it's gonna be New Year's. It's gonna be next year already.
What do you mean? It's next year already, Julie.
So what are your resolutions, Brendan? you have any?
Do you believe in resolutions?
Do I believe in resolutions?
New Year's resolutions, yeah.
I mean, sure.
Why is it funny? You've never heard that? People don't believe in New Year's resolutions?
Well, cause I'm like believe like a ghost. Like you don't believe. You don't believe. Ooh, they don't exist.
Ugh.
Like I'm sure they exist, but I just. But I get what
You
mean.
don't. You don't do any. You don't do those.
I try. I try. Let's see. If I had to think, I want to spend some more time in nature. Go
Oh,
on
I
some
like
more
that.
hikes.
That's what you're gonna try to do.
Make some new friends, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Vibe.
what?
Vibe.
Vibe, be dope, chill, smile more. You know?
Damn, okay, I
Yeah,
fuck with that.
yeah.
Fuck with that. What about you, Julie?
It's funny how you mentioned the therapy, because that legit was my New Year's resolution, is to get therapy. I feel like I have been talking about it for a while about going. I haven't gone just because like I haven't really done my research, and I know it's gonna be expensive. So from what I've heard, I haven't really done my research that much, but I think I finally want to go to therapy. I think it's finally time. So hopefully in the next year, it doesn't have to be at the beginning of the next year, but just whenever in the next year, I finally am going to therapy. That's
She
like
must have
one of
heard our
them.
podcast.
No,
That's
I had
good,
already
though.
thought
That's
that.
good.
I had legit thought
Just
that.
listen to Todo Chido.
No.
That's as much therapy as you need.
That's all I
therapy.
need.
That's
That's
all
really
I
good
need.
therapy.
That's good, Julia. I'm
Yeah,
proud of you.
that's
I'm
very
really
good.
proud of you.
I think I've been talking about it for a while. So I hope this time I can finally actually go to it. 'Cause I think like if you can get like daily checkups for your body, you should get some for your head, your mind, you know. You use it every day.
The old noggin.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you should always get that checked up, you know.
Well, it's because it's crazy, right? No, because I really am proud of you, because I think it's really hard to take the step to get therapy, because I think one thing that people think about is they think that there's something wrong with you, but it's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
And you also, I think, because you know how I mentioned the go if you're like a child of like immigrant parents. I don't mean it in the sense of like when you go to therapy you're blaming your parents. I just mean it as that, like, come on, like think about it logically. Like of course, like I keep saying, like to be an immigrant is to survival, is to be all survival. And when you're all survival, sometimes like a lot of emotional like thoughts get pushed to the side.
And I feel like just personally for me, I think it's a lot of like, for sure, like my mom and of course like my dad went through a lot of shit growing up and the way that they grew up. And I know that a lot of that was kind of like passed down on us. And I know that my mom did her best not to like throw her traumas at me or like at us. But I mean, she did them unintentionally either way. And I think for me personally, I don't want to pass that down to like my kids. I think I think it's just like I just want to better myself so that eventually, if I do or if I ever do have kids, like they don't live through that. I'm sure I'll
Break
still
the cycle.
I'm sure I'm sure like some things will still get passed down for sure. You know, um, and I'm not doing it just because of that of like the way I grew up. I just feel like personally, I have gone through just a lot of things that I don't normally talk about as much. That I feel like it's time to like kind of heal myself. Like I've been going through this journey this past 2-3 years of healing myself from past traumas that I've gone through, whether it's like with my family, with like personal relationships. Um, and I feel like I've been healing from them and I've been doing really good and I feel like life has kind of rewarded me in the way that I have been doing that and working on myself. Because I feel like I'm in a very good place right now, like than I was before. And I've thought about this like since like my birthday that I've been like, what is gonna be like my new thing that I want to do this upcoming year? And the theme was that like I've gone through this healing journey for such a long time, and I know that I'm not fully healed, and there's something that's going on that doesn't fully heal me, and I feel like therapy is gonna be the way to like get there, you know. I'm not saying it's like the full solution. Because I don't know. I've never done it, you know. But I feel like it's another start to continue my healing process that I've been going through.
Very
So
mature,
I guess
Julie.
that's yeah. And it was weird because when I finally had set myself to wanting to go to therapy, I started psyching myself out of like maybe I should like it's just
Self
it's a weird.
sabotage.
Yeah, I was like sabotaging myself because I was like I started getting into this weird mindset of like it's weird because like I'm so used to like I vent to friends, right, or I vent to like you guys or something, but like venting to someone who's like a complete stranger and then hearing like them tell me or whatever, to me that was I was getting in a weird place of like that just feels I feel uncomfortable, like I feel uncomfortable of like doing that. um but I think like that's like the best part of it is just doing things that are very uncomfortable, you know, because then eventually you'll get better. So I don't know. I think that's my resolution. I had another one. I just can't remember. But oh yeah, my other one was I guess through the healing process is my theme. I guess this upcoming year is letting go of a lot of things. Um, I think that's just like my major theme. Whether it's letting go like resentments that I've had for past people or just like past things. I think that's like my big theme this next year is just letting go of whatever it is that I've been holding on since I was maybe little or recently, or whatever past traumas through like my relationships um, that haven't let me like heal again. Like like how I said, I'm going through this healing process that I'm trying to better myself in. Um, and yeah, I think that's like the biggest theme. I don't know if it's a resolution, but it's more of a theme for myself of like letting go. That's like the biggest thing for me. But yeah.
Wow, that's
Very
cool.
mature.
Yeah, I like how you're just like I'm being chill.
Hey, I mean that's, okay.
cool.
You know? That's cool.
That's cool. No, yeah, you guys both said very.
You have a great
I
summer.
fuck with both of your resolutions. They're both pretty cool.
Do you have any, Sid? Have you thought of any yet, or
More
no?
bitches, more money? No.
I do that every year. I gotta get something new.
Bruh.
No, I want to step out of my comfort zone. I want to do more shit that I haven't done before. I want to be more zanier, more wilder. I want to break glass
Even
bottles over
zanier?
my head.
Even zanier.
I want to tase myself and like I want
Can
to
I do it?
I want to bro, I'm being dead ass. Like I don't know why. I've always had this inclination for like doing like jackass shit.
To hurt
Like
yourself more?
you know like yeah, I guess hurting myself for entertainment.
So you can at least feel something. You know?
So you better stay
Okay.
tuned. Stay tuned. I'll actually do it. But no, but I mean
We'll
like
record. We'll post it.
Can I pepper spray you?
yeah, sure.
You want to?
Yeah, maybe that by the end of the year. Yeah, next year.
You serious?
Yeah, I'm being
Whoa.
serious. Yeah, I'm telling you. Okay,
Get
but
some
this is my
milk.
thought
I'll
process.
get the milk.
It isn't in the need of because like I want our channel to blow up or anything. It's more in the sense of since I was younger, I've always felt like I've had a very outgoing personality, but I've always held myself back because I was afraid that people wouldn't want to be my friend. And growing up, I've I don't know what's the word. I've just gathered a lot of friends. I've always it's being friends to me is like so important. Like I love just making friends. But because of that, I've always been afraid of losing them. But for next year, I just want to be like just full out there, like 100% of what I am. Because now that I'm 24, I feel my brain developing, bro, and I feel like like embarrassment and like fear are starting to become problems that like are nowhere near as big as they were when I was a kid. And now that I'm like old enough to where I have my own money, I'm an adult, so I'm responsible for myself. I feel like I just want to be so much out of my comfort zone and do things that will hopefully like make me only like grow and understand myself more, you know? Because maybe I'll do the tasing, maybe you'll pepper spray me and I'll be like, fuck, why did I do this shit? I mean, like, this shit was so stupid, but at least now I know, you know? At least now I know that that's just not the move. you're like
I could have told you that. You know? But that floats your boat.
I don't know, man.
He just wants to try it out.
I just enjoy it. I enjoy life. You should have never made me take shrooms, man. That shit made me realize how much I love life and being alive.
That's dope.
But then if I die, bro, I'm gonna be pissed. Cause then I'll be like, fuck, man, I never got a chance to do what I wanted to do.
Pissed?
Maybe I'll just be like, you know what?
Maybe you just be dead.
True.
No, but if you are pissed, let me know, cause then I'll know. I'll be like, oh,
yeah,
wow.
bro. I saw this thing on Adventure Time that I thought was really cool. It was I never knew this, but HBO Max continued Adventure Time after the show ended in like movies. And they call back to like a part in the show where
Clapping?
yeah, oh my god, you know what I'm talking
The what?
Where there's an episode in early Adventure Time where didn't Jake go to like hell or something, and Jake says like if we get lost, do this. And it's like this is some dumb clapping thing, and then like
and throughout the show he does it like again, and they think they're about to die. They're like in this ditch and they think the bad guy's about to kill him, and he's like, Finn, remember, like and he starts clapping and he's like, why are you doing the clapping thing for? It's like, I feel like there's a lot of dead people in the other world, so we might get lost. So if you're ever like lost, like you'll hear that. And recently HBO Max came out with some movies that take place after the show ended. And it's when Finn is old and Jake died like a long time ago. And in the beginning of the movie, Finn dies and he goes to the other world. And the first thing he does is the clap, because he's trying to look for his brother. And I just bring that up because I'm telling both of you, I'm gonna develop a signal.
You're gonna do the
so that way I'll do it before every time I do like the tasing or the pepper spray. I'll be like, all right, I'm just gonna remember the signal in case I die. So when you guys die eventually in your life, just listen for the sound.
Those would be good cold opens for the show, like, you know.
It's Stevie screaming
that
in pain.
That or a good end. Like we're talking, I just
Well, because recently, yesterday I was hanging out with some friends, and they reminded me of something I did that I completely like. I don't know, maybe my brain just like blacked it out. But like during the pandemic or 2021, early 2021, like January, so it was still kind of feels like the pandemic. I mean, the pandemic's still going on now. But anyways, we rented out a boat. And we were specifically instructed to not take it out to like the middle of the sea because there's a harbor.
But you did
stay there. Yeah, because I mean, come on. And we took it out to the middle of the sea, and they also specifically said like don't jump in the water, which I did too. Yeah, because I had to. And anyways, we were in the middle of the sea. We had been drinking already. Like I had been smoking, so I was not in the right state of mind. But I knew I would always kick myself if I didn't jump into like the middle of the ocean. And I remember I jumped in, and it was not at all what I fucking thought it was gonna be, bro. It was like the scariest shit ever. You know when you close your eyes and you can still see like light. Like right now, if I close my eyes, I can still see light. When you jump into the ocean, it's just like pitch black, right? And I made the like stupid mistake of like fucking jumping first of all. So when I jumped in, since I just fucking sank like so far down. And they gave me like a rope, right, to hold on just in case. Like I didn't have a life preserver or anything. They just gave me a rope to hang on from the boat. When I jumped in, not only was it like ice cold water, but because it was like pitch black and because I fell down, when I jumped into the ocean, I accidentally like let go of the rope. So I was under the water, and I was under the water looking for the rope because since it was pitch black, I didn't know where I was. And finally, like I got the rope, and I remember I immediately like swam up, and it was taking a minute for me to swim up, bro. It took like it wasn't not like a not an actual minute, like 15 seconds.
Longer than you thought.
Yeah, and I got pretty scared, and I remember I was like holding on to the side of the boat, and like it was so weird because I was so like cold and paralyzing that I couldn't pull myself up, and I was like, okay, like, I just need to relax. I just need to like compose myself, and then finally like I got up on the boat, and I remember. I remember everybody was like kind of like serious. Like there was like 6 of us in there. We're like yo, are you chilling? And I was like, yeah, just that shit was not what I expected at all. Like was not what I expected at all. That's why I kind of go back to the clapping thing, because like despite what you might think, like the pepper spray thing about like, oh, I'm sure it'll hurt. I don't really know until I do it for some reason.
Yeah.
And like, so I feel like I need to do these things.
You've seen that video, right? Of that guy who gets pepper sprayed where he's acting all hard and the camera guy just sprays him and he starts crying.
Oh, yeah.
Please take this off me.
Okay, maybe the pepper spray, maybe that one will be if I'm really feeling ballsy.
Yeah, because even Johnny Knoxville says it's not the most.
Yeah.
I feel like Johnny Knoxville.
The taser thing though, that one interests me.
Which one, the shooting one or the
I both, but I'd rather start with the touch one first.
I have one of those. I can
yeah, we'll film it. We'll be ready for that video next. Yeah, because those guys are. I feel like we talked about that when we were talking about death. I feel like when you become comfortable with the idea of dying is when you kind of like live life to the fullest.
What I admire them is how they're so unapologetically themselves. Like without like they don't give a fuck if they show you their dick, if they take if they take a shit on camera, if they fucking get knocked out or throw up or do whatever, they're like whatever, like, you know. And I think that's so cool, like but you know, because it's so freeing, because like because then what worse can happen to you than that, you know?
Well, you know what's funny? This is on the topic of shrooms, because there's a mushroom right there. I remember you and me talked about after you had your like super bad trip on shrooms. Do you remember I told you like when I had my bad trip, it weirdly enough like made me not scared of dying, because not in the sense of like I'm out there provoking someone to come kill me, but in the sense of like, bro, the shit I've seen was fucking horrifying. And like you think like you're gonna intimidate me, being like, oh, I'm gonna beat you up, like come on, bro. Please, bro, like a god talked to me, and it was the scariest moment of my fucking life. And like once you do you remember when we had that combo? I was like I'm glad you finally understand what I mean by that though, because it's not a boastful thing. It's not a it's
not like I could take anyone. It's just more like I feel like that's not the scariest thing in my head anymore. You know? Where it's like before I'd walk around and be like, oh, it'd be pretty scary if some guy ran up on me and like jumped me. Or now it's like, nah, I shook hands with Lucifer.
Bro,
like,
yes.
Like that was kind of scary.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I want you to have one.
Do people ever say
wish that on me,
it's
bro?
eye-opening.
Do people ever say they see the devil? Like on... Do people ever see shit like that?
People say they see this guy called the Hat Man. Have you heard of that?
The Hat Man?
Yeah, you never heard of that?
Oh, don't let his name fool you though. He's pretty scary.
Yeah. People say he's pretty scary. The homie Izzy, regular guest on the show.
Oh, he saw the Hat Man?
He saw the Hat Man, yeah, when he was.
But he said it was like Walter White.
Yeah, but he said it's because he was watching a lot of Breaking Bad at the time.
So he took.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe he saw the wrong Hat Man.
The Hat Man.
But
I feel like if I were to go through that trip that you guys went through, I think I would probably be freaked out. I for sure would not come out however you guys came out.
It would change the trajectory of your life?
Yeah. I think I would just be scared for my life.
I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you either. I
don't think I would be the same anymore. I think I would be stuck.
Oh my god. Don't say that.
What would you want us to do? Would you want me to knock you out so that like you just wake up like better?
Imagine she's freaking out and you're like, guys, I'm freaking out, and she turns around and the last thing she sees, bam,
just knock her out.
Yeah.
Well, she's gonna wake up better at least.
Yeah. At least we saved you the trouble.
Swollen face.
Or it'd be worse if she's like in her unconsciousness, she still was like tripping on.
Oh, like she's just having bad dreams.
Yeah, and she can't wake up
because she wakes up with a concussion.
That's even worse. No, actually, you could take it. It's like I always tell you, it's mind over matter. No matter what happens whenever you're taking any substance, always
I
just believe in
guess
yourself.
I don't know. I wish there was an ultimate fail-safe, but there's not.
Yeah, there's really not. You just
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
stomach that. I love what
Okay.
you said. How like for those of you who don't partake in like magic mushrooms, there's this like kind of advice that you take before you go on a trip that you have to accept everything you see, and that's how you won't have a bad trip. Like you'll see something bad, and you have to say, okay, I accept this. I like what you said though when you're having a bad trip, and you're like, how much more can I accept?
Yeah. I was like, damn, bro, I feel like I'm saying yes already. Like, oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
I was like, I just keep thinking about my last trip and how after my last trip, I legit didn't feel anything.
Do you
'Cause I
remember,
remember,
you talked to us about it too on the car ride
yeah, because
home?
I was like, I remember being like, kind of being like super happy though, like when I was on shrooms, like just being happy and like, because I remember seeing like the kids run around and like I just kept hearing like kids laughing. And then I remember after like I was completely out of like the shroom part, I just felt I didn't feel anything. I was like it wasn't like
What do you
a
think that means? Or
I don't
why?
know, because you asked me like what does that mean, and I was like I had legit have no idea, because I remember at least from the first few trip, like the other two trips, like at least from the first trip, I remember feeling like the weight was lifted off of me and like feeling like really good. But I remember I started feeling like gross once we went into like when we went to go eat, and then everything just started seeming like bad again, where it was just kind of like everything just felt kind of gross again. Um and then the second time, I can't remember how I felt after that one, but I remember feeling pretty chill too. I think I was pretty like chilling. Um, but this one, like instantly, I felt nothing. Like I instantly was like just done, and like there was like no feeling or
Because I
anything.
remember, I don't think you heard it, but I remember we got in the car on the drive home, right? When I was driving, I remember you were, I don't remember exactly what you were saying, because weirdly enough, like mushrooms fuck with your memory, like at least like after, not during, but after, you kind of forget what's happening. But I remember you were talking to me, and you were like, she was saying stuff like literally like damn, like I don't care about anything, bro. Like I don't care
Yeah,
about anything. Um,
because that's generally what I was feeling. I was feeling like I didn't care about anything.
Like apathetic.
Yeah, like I wasn't like I didn't care about anyone. Like I was just like, because I kept thinking also of of at least where I was at the time, and I was kind of like, but why? Like I feel like I'm fine though. Like I'm in like a happy relationship. I'm like fine with my family. Like, but I didn't really care. Like I didn't like it was like I didn't have a care for them. Like they were just like kind of there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
yeah, because shrooms are very internal. Like it's about stuff that's going on in your mind.
Yeah.
So I just really wonder what that means.
Because I don't even know what it means either. Like I've thought about it. Eventually, I was like, I'm not even gonna think about it anymore. Like, I was just like whatever.
Did it when you woke up the next day? Did you still feel that way?
No, it was just like at that moment. It was legit just at that
maybe
moment.
it was still the mushrooms, and you just didn't know it. Because I remember in one of his specials, a comedian I enjoy, Bill Burr, he talked about how he finally did mushrooms, and how he was like he didn't want to get old and be that guy who's never tripped on mushrooms, so he did it, and he was like, I'm pretty fucked up, so like that was my first mistake, like because he always talks about how he has like serious like issues with his family, his parents, and he was talking about how like he at one point crawled into bed and was like, oh my God, I don't love my wife, like I don't love my wife, like did I
Damn.
marry the wrong person? And he was like, to preface this, if you don't think that twice a week in your marriage, then you are actually with the wrong person. Like he's like, that's natural to think that. But then he started thinking about his daughter, and he was like, oh my God, I don't love my daughter. But it saved him because he was like, wait a minute, I fucking love my daughter. I know that's bullshit. And then it saved him because he was like, and he said like that he started thinking about, he was like, I just feel like lonely, and like I feel like nobody cares about me. And that it hit him, and he was like, oh, this is how I felt growing up. I felt like this when I was a kid. So it could be something like that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
In
true.
the sense of like, I don't mean that specifically, but in the sense of like, it could have been an elaborate like, You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
like a
Yeah.
message. Yeah.
Cause I
don't know.
remember, cause all I remember was I remember I was chilling the whole entire time. Like at the beach, I was a little tripped out because we were at the beach and I was so used to like nature, so it did trip me out. But like at the same time, I was chilling. Like I was enjoying like the music for the most part and like everything else. And then in my head, I remember being like, I know I'm at a different like dimension right now. Like in my head, I kept being like, I'm in a whole other dimension because I took shrooms, and like, but everything else was still like real. But like there was a whole different like dimension to it. Because I mean, there was a shit ton of people there that day at the beach. I remember that, and then I just remember being like, oh, okay, like I'm just on shrooms, and then I kept thinking like, I wonder what people are thinking of me just sitting here. But I was just like, whatever. And then, but for the most part, I was enjoying it. Like, I was fine. But I think, and how I said, like, we went to the restroom and then I kind of saw, like, everything in GTA
Barely
form.
remember that.
Like, the cars were, like, because the cars just seemed very simple and, like, basic. And then I remember being like, damn, everything is just so basic now. And then, like, the people were, like, walking, like, as if they were in a video game. And then when we walked back, and then everything just kind of like left it felt like everything just left my body and everything was back to normal. That's when I was like, I don't feel anything. Like, I just feel like I don't really like care. Like,
Maybe it was like a feeling of frustration. Like it wasn't necessarily that you always feel this way, but it's a reaction to frustration of a lot of things in your life where you're like, you're trying not to get hurt by pretending you don't care, or by saying like, I don't really care about anything, because that way you aren't hurt. If you don't care about anything, then
Yeah.
everybody else's opinion
It could
doesn't
be
affect you.
It could maybe it's a fear of getting hurt.
maybe.
I don't know.
No,
I
because
don't
I
know.
mean, dude, because
I don't-
shrooms are 100%
I
like
don't know
like
that law.
internal.
Dude, you know what I saw the other day that
What?
was kind of tripping me out, because usually Reddit, you could tell it's bullshit.
Yeah.
But because we have experience with mushrooms. This one I was like, I feel like I could see this happening to me.
Whatever.
This guy was saying that he did mushrooms with his friends once, and that like he was tripping balls, and that he was in like a rocking chair or in his head,
Mhm.
and when he'd rock forward, he'd see them like normal, but when he'd rock back, he'd see them like aged up, like, and he'd keep doing that like for hours.
I think I know what you're talking about.
And that like whenever he'd rock forward and back, it'd be like young, old. But he noticed that one friend, wasn't in when he would rock forward to the old like part. One of the friends wasn't there, and he didn't like think too deeply about it. But he was just like, how come he's not old? Like, you know, how come he's only young but he disappears when it goes to old? And like 2 weeks later, that guy died in a car accident. And that he said it like
It's been like 8 years or
it's been, like,
something,
8 years,
right?
and it like
He
bothers
thinks
him.
about it all the
He
time.
thinks about it all the time, and I'm like, whoa, that's pretty scary.
That's wild.
Like, that's some perverse knowledge right there.
Yeah.
You know, that's I don't know, man. That's
Bro, but that's the type of like story that really like intrigues me about shrooms, is that like, because they're of Earth, right? And the psychedelic like properties, it almost does feel like you're connecting into like, I hate that I always sound like a fucking hippie when I say this
maybe
shit.
it's like the
But-
Avatar thing. You're connecting
Oh,
into,
connect to the Mother Earth.
yeah, into AWA or whatever.
Seeing all the connections.
So shrooms, it's like, it's affecting you like chemically, right, in your head.
Yeah.
Psilocybin, right?
And but then it's adding stuff because it's like a plant or whatever it is.
What do you mean
It's
it's adding
It's a
stuff?
fungi. It's a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're taking it from the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's naturally, the Earth naturally makes this. This is on vanilla Earth,
Yeah.
like vanilla Minecraft.
Yeah.
This isn't something humans made. It's
Yeah.
naturally in the Earth, and like, it's so mind blowing what it makes you think. You know, I read something about how what they scientifically, what they do is they make you see objectively, like logically, sides of arguments.
I also read that it's like it makes you see things more like a child, because like it's like it activates stuff that's more active when you're a kid.
Mhm.
So that's why everything's like colors and
Yeah.
bright and shit.
Yeah.
I feel like a kid when I take them,
Yeah.
honestly.
So maybe, but I don't know what part of the brain it activates to bring out the demons.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's crazy you're bringing that up, Julie, because I remember that too, and I remember I was like, I don't know how to like, I don't know what to say, because I remember when you said that I was kind of sad. I was like, I was like, I don't care about anything. So I was like, so you don't care about me?
She said you
It
never
legit-
really
it was-
mattered all
it
that
was-
much. to you.
Yeah, she said you never really mattered all that much
No,
to
because
me.
it was like I remember being like, I felt like love when I was on shrooms, and then when I was off them, I felt nothing. Like I didn't even like love was even like I don't care about it. Like it was like it doesn't exist kind of thing.
Whoa.
And
then
like,
Steve-
and
and
so,
then-
so did you also have the like reaction of like, but it like it's okay, or were you like, ah, who cares?
I was kind of like, I remember just being like I'm gonna just forget about it. Like I didn't care. Like I was just because I was kind of like, why am I feeling this way? But then since I couldn't figure it out as to like why, I kind of just like threw it off. I was kind of like, oh, whatever. Like
I think
I
it
don't-
goes
I don't
deep,
understand
Julie.
it.
I think that's a really deep.
I
one.
still till now I still don't understand what it was
No,
about.
yeah. It's okay that you don't
Because
know.
I remember you even were like, well, maybe it means like you should
Well,
be more full of love or something. You said something.
Yeah, I
like
did. Because I'm telling you, I
said
remember that
something like
because
that.
I did. I was also tripping too.
Mhm.
I was tripping. I feel like you were totally still tripping, even though you probably didn't feel anything. I feel like you were totally still tripping. But like I said, like when I just said that, I was like, damn, like so she doesn't care about me either. And so, but I was trying to not then like freak myself out, right? So then all I could think about is love and how like, oh, I feel strongly because I love my sister.
maybe you should love your family.
So I remember I
But
did say
think-
something like
yeah,
that, right?
You
I was
said
like,
something like, well, maybe that just means that like you
Wow.
need to be more full of love or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
If I had to give a genuine take, maybe there's some things in life that we always look the answer for, right? Like we're like, oh, we'll figure this out. We have to figure this out. But I think sometimes, at least with most things, that's not how it works. I think sometimes you have to live a little more life to get the answer. You know, that maybe you don't have enough data
Wow.
just yet.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
we'll
Well, you know,
revisit
but
this in
you
a few
know-
years.
so
And I'll be like, I know
so-
what the fuck that meant.
well, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, don't be so like, damn, what was that? You
Yeah.
know, because maybe you just don't have the data yet.
Yeah.
You might need to do some things and then it'll click. You know,
Mhm.
No, but it's also funny. Well, it's also interesting because like it's not something that like I'm super bothered with as to like
You
why I
just
Oh, I
can't
get you.
find the meaning. It was just like it was interesting because it was like I think to me just thinking of it like more I guess a little like logically. I think it was just like I think I was just having like a really good time being so high off of shrooms that I was sad that I wasn't high.
That I wasn't peaking anymore.
Yeah.
It went down.
Yeah, I think because that's how I kind of think about it. Is that I think I was just like super enjoying the high, that like I was kind of sad that I wasn't high anymore.
Because I remember I couldn't even hide like how I felt when my sister said that shit. Because I remember I was like, "What about your
brother.
that little brother you got?"
that bumptious little brother of yours.
But it's like it's not something that like I've been holding on to
Really?
and
This
like I
happened?
think about
Yeah,
I was there?
Yeah,
you
but
were
bro, come on, bro. You were like, fuck.
You were
up.
like a
like-
different person.
Yeah, you were. you were
like
a
recovering.
different person. I didn't want to freak you out more with what my sister was saying.
Yeah, so
This was in
because
the
I said
car?
it in the car.
This was in the
Yeah, I
car.
said
This
it
is
in
when
the
we were
car.
leaving.
Yeah, this is when we were leaving.
I don't
Yeah.
remember this at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were probably just
I was
like
probably just
you were
relieved.
like holding on for dear
I was
life.
just probably relieved that it was over. I was like, oh.
But yeah,
but low key, going off of that,
Mhm.
just a little bit of a side note. I remember I kind of saw the little like I saw something that was
Mhm.
gonna trigger me to have a bad trip, and I remember telling myself like, not today, not today, and then they went away. Like I remember I almost had a bad trip.
I wish that were me. All right, well
But
before
you were saying.
yeah, no, I was just gonna go ahead and wrap this episode up of the first episode of Todo Chido.
The
We'll have
pilot?
plenty more time to talk about this
Yeah.
on future episodes. We hope you guys stick around. There's, like I said, the set's still gonna be changing around, moving around. It's gonna be all cool, all new guests. I think it's just all around just gonna be so
You may
much better.
See some familiar faces.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much better than the original show, Primo Chidos. Not that I'm saying that was a bad show. I'm just saying I hope that we improve so much in the new year that when I look back at our old stuff, I almost cringe because
Yeah.
our new shit is on a
I
new
hope
level.
I
You
hope we
know?
look at this episode and cringe. Be like,
Hell yeah,
isn't even our best work. you know?
yeah. I agree.
But thanks for tuning in. Happy New Year. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, make sure y'all follow us at our Todo Chido Instagram and subscribe to our Todo Chido channel on YouTube. But yeah, y'all can also maybe check us out on Spotify and Apple. Keep a lookout for that. Yeah,
Now, all new.
yeah, bro, all new. It's an
It
all
feels
new
weird
show.
that we call ourselves Todo Chido now because I'm like, that's not our name.
We'll get used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, see y'all next time.
Bye.
Bye.